Ready?
Yes, sir.
See, they can go that. Sam, Sam, I hit the button. We're live.
So what do you want me to do about that? Am I meant to say something? What do you want from me?
Talk to the people that were watching us.
Ah! Hello, people! Gosh, running eyes staring at me. This is weird.
It is weird. When you take into account all the people that watch this eventually. Wow. A lot of eyes, as you said.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Welcome back, guys. We're back to talk about Prodigy Season 2. Continue our review. Today we're doing episodes 6 through 10. So, Observer's Paradox. Observer's Paradox was last time. It's my bad. We're starting at Imposter Syndrome.
Yes.
Fast and the Curious. Is There in Beauty No Truth?
Mm-hmm.
And The Devourer of All Things, Part 1 and 2.
There we go.
So we're going to cover them all and talk about them. And hopefully you guys will be part of the discussion.
That is important. So basically, it's the second chunk. Because as we know, Prodigy is really comprised of one 20-episode arc, 2 10s, and 4 5s. This is the end of the second 5 arc. Which is funny, because 6 or 10 feels like 4 episodes. But somehow it's not.
Yeah. And I think our next one is going to cover 6 episodes, because Ascension's Part 1 and 2, Ascension Part 2 is episode 16.
Okay.
So we don't want to break up that one, I don't think. I don't know. So.
Well, and you'd like to think there'd be enough, final episodes to talk about that would justify.
Exactly.
You'd think. So even though there's only 4, you'd think it'd be. As I said in our spoiler review, I can't see any padding now in the next 10, so this should be proper, constant, epic stuff. Because they've used their padding episodes, it should now be just go, go, go. So I'm excited to see them, do it justice, because they've now set the wheels in motion, as it were.
Exactly, yeah.
So obviously, as you can see in the thumbnail, we can now talk about him.
Yeah.
So we had to not talk about him for a while.
Should have done 6 through 11. No, because 11 and 12 are parts 1 and part 2.
That would not be the end. This is the end of the first arc. This is the cliffhanger. If we revolve cliffhanger, we wouldn't be able to speculate on the cliffhanger. So continuing will make it pointless. And also, I'm sure, would reduce the impact of 9 and 10, because then other epic things are going to happen, which will make that epic feel less epic. Yeah,
like this cliffhanger, and then we get into another 2-parter, which is Last Flight of the Protostar, parts 1 and 2. So that's how we start off the next batch.
Yeah.
So
it was designed this way on purpose by the teams. So, because they didn't know how they're going to release, they could easily have had it to be 2 10s again. So this would be the actual end of the first 6 months of episodes. That's how they originally would have planned it, based on how they were told the first batch was going to be released. Okay, I will share.
All right. That gives me a chance to tell you guys to hit like, and make sure you join the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, obviously, and click the notification bell icon to all, because we do want to make sure that you guys get notified when we upload new content, whether it be lives or edited content. So make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do. Also, there's a join button down there. Click the join button and you can be part of the Trekyards family. Have your name in the credits at the end, serving on a starship, or you can head over to Patreon/Trekyards as well. It's another way to do that. It's kind of a monthly way to help us out. And if you want to join, we'd really appreciate it. So click that join button and look at your options to do so, and pick one, or don't. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm suggesting something you could possibly do. So anyhow, that's that. Also, make sure you super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts on these episodes and just the overall arc. And there's some really good stuff to talk about this time. So I want to hear what you guys have to say, what you're thinking, and all of that jazz. So also make sure that you check the links down below. There are links to the Teespring and the TeePublic store, where you got some cool Trekyards merch. You guys can pick up some Trekyards shirts, things like that, and that'd be great. Mark Lawrence. Wait, who are you? What? Oh, George, I'll read your thing in a second once Sam's back, so he knows that there's possibly a problem. We will actually, let me do something here. Because if that's an issue, we will get it sorted for you right away. Let me see here. There we go. All right. So there's Sam back now. I'm going to read George Mangrum, who's a member for 40 months at the rank of lieutenant. Says, "Hiya, Trekyards. I think I have disappeared from your officers list at the end of your videos. I fear that the loom got me."
Sorry, who's this?
I don't know. Magnum PI or something?
I don't. Yeah, welcome to the channel. If you're new, then join. You can join via Patreon or join the channel. Either way helps the channel. Yeah, welcome if you're new. Don't know who you are, so.
Yeah. And Ray Rick
Get
says,
it? Because it's a joke. Because the loom.
Anyway.
Don't sound too dickish. It's a joke.
Ray Ricks, guys, remind me what the end of this is so there are no spoilers. Well, this is episode 10, so the end of the Devourer of All Things, which is the Wesley, Jane, and Wesley and Janeway meet at the end. So there you go.
Yeah, they meet. They get to Protostar Chakotay planet. That's the distinct end. We see bearded Chakotay for all of 12 frames, then as in full.
Yeah.
Not as grey as he should be, having foraged on a desert planet for many years conceptually. As in based on the rust of the Protostar, I assume years. It's also funnier if he's because he's a time echo, so he can be there for 30 years, but oh no, 30 years, and then he dies, and then the real him comes in later. It's wow, we got to see.
I know exactly how long it is. It's 10 years. It's not a big spoiler.
Gosh, you're guessing, Stu. Very good at guessing these days, aren't you? Crazy. It's been 84 years.
I might be a few episodes along further than that, but I'm pretending like I don't know what's happening. So it's fine. But 10 years is not too bad for that amount of gray for that future. It's fine.
He's just going to be in his 70s.
Well,
he was already plenty old in Voyager. He was in his 40s. He'd be 60s now and add 10.
Yeah.
But I assume he was dyeing his hair in the Protostar. As in, just doesn't want to be grey. It's fine. It's all a choice, right?
Good genes. That's what it is.
Akuchumoya, I pray to the hair dye of my people.
Yes.
Doing a poll.
All right. He will do the poll. We will look into that, George, and make sure that your name is there. If it's been removed somehow, we will get it fixed. Don't worry. But yes, so yeah, it's just we're talking up to the Wesley stuff. We're gonna cover all that, and then we'll continue on next week with more. So we might actually have 2 reviews next week. I'm not sure how we're gonna do it exactly, but because the following week is Sam coming here before Vegas, so we'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. So that's why it's important to be subscribed and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss anything that we're uploading. Wesley Healy says, "I've just tried a Skype call with Walter Koenig. Whether or not it is for real time distance. What? Cool.
Good luck. Say hi from us."
Yeah. All right. So the poll is up. Which episodes do you think were better overall? Okay. Episodes 1 through 5, time messing up. Episode 6 through 10, search for Wesley.
So, Stuart, what do you think of episodes 4, 5, 6 to 10? Overall.
Overall, kind of because there's some filler episodes, just episodic episode feeling ones that I don't think needed to be there necessarily. Specifically, Imposter Syndrome, Fast and the Curious, and those 2 specifically. I mean, in Beauty No Truth, I think is important for Zero, obviously. But yeah, once we get to 9 and 10 with the timey-wimey Doctor Who episodes with Wesley returning, I think those are pretty great, actually. So overall, it felt really good after watching these ones, because it's like, oof, character returns. It was really fun and interesting to watch. And I got to the point where it's like, I could watch a whole series around Wesley now, because it's just so interesting. Plus, there's still a lot we haven't really learned about the Travelers and the supervisors and stuff. It'd be great to have a series focusing on that. But I actually really enjoyed them. Even the 2 filler ones were kind of fun in their own way, but I think they're ones I'm not necessarily going to look forward to watching again. Specifically episodes 6 and 7. So, but what about you? What did you think of this next batch of 5 episodes? Star Trek Prodigy Season 2.
Yeah, so I only had time to rewatch the last 3, but the first 2 of the 5 are, as you say, underwhelming. So it's really about the discussion is going to be in the final 2, I'm sure. So they're okay. It's definitely a mixed bag of vibes. My big problem in the previous review we did was that obviously you end on such a giant note of we messed up all of time, broke our timeline, caused an alternate universe, and Gwen's dying. Now let's take 3 episodes off to faff. What?
Yeah.
They went from this really giant premise and brought it all the way back down to the basic sort of season 1 concept, then ramped it back up for 9 and 10. And that's not a good pacing structure, because honestly, narratively I was bored in 6 and 7. Not by the actual content, but they were not doing what 1 to 5 promised. Like they built up a pace that then dropped the ball literally to the lower levels. I also think the logic of 6 is pretty broken. I don't see, unless they explicitly make a reference of we're staying at the lower decks, like quarters, whereby only cadets go. There's like 6 of us. Then you can get away with no crew. But in the episode, they constantly run around the corridors, and there should always be people walking around, at least conceptually. The fact there's never anybody makes the crew feel dead. The ship feel dead, which does not help then us feel anything when the crew dies in episode 9 or 10, because as far as I'm concerned, there's less than 10 people aboard. Right?
Yeah.
Even Voyager and TNG with real extras felt like there's more people aboard, and they weren't really trying that hard because they had to pay them, right? So
which is ironic, because the maximum crew of the Enterprise D was scaled down from 6,000 to 1,000.
Yeah.
Because Gene Roddenberry said we don't have enough extras to show that many people on board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it still felt more alive than this.
Yeah.
It's okay, and it's very much up its own when it comes to the single premise. And I think they should have given you one tell about how to determine who's who, because it's just an entirely confusing non-episode of just like, I mean, stuff happens. Moving on, right? That's sort of the premise of that one. Yeah. The Kazon is sort of fun, but also the pacing's really all over the place for that.
I just want to jump in real quick. I would say that watching this week on week, we would be pretty upset with 6 and 7, because we'd be like, seriously? If you can't binge it to get to the next one,
yes,
those would be kind of disappointing. So that's what he means by a slump there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and not just that, we as Trekyards have nothing to talk about either. Like nothing new was gleaned from those episodes. Yeah. Kazon 1 is okay. I'd say pacing's a little bit broken on that one. The 0-1 is enjoyable, but again, it's a lot of screen time for one concept that we have a much bigger problem. And what we did today is we rewatched episodes 9 and 10, went back to 8. Because 9 and 10 are way more important. And 10's refreshing, but it's like, this could have been half as long. Like, they should have compressed 2 together somehow, or like been really, really efficient with it. And they could have told both important narrative things in less time. Because it's nice, but it should have been either season 1 or earlier in the season, or just done as if they were told by the executives, we have to put him in a real body. And the only slot you have is episode 8. Does that make sense? 8.
Yeah.
9 and 10 are good with their own sort of pacing and structure problems, but they're certainly more engaging. And Wesley, stand out. I mean, he does a tremendous job. And obviously no one thinks he dies. You know, that would be ridiculous. Although it's funny how, and I noticed the second time, again, another editing problem. Janeway and Voyager specifically was in orbit, like in atmosphere next to the thing. And then within a couple of minutes, because Janeway was in the obelisk, they beamed. So somebody had to order the Voyager, even though the crew's dying, whatever, back into quite a long way away, and then Joan to get sent there, and it's weird. It was just in, like, who was bothered enough to say take us back into orbit in the seconds they had between events. I just felt weird. They were in orbit and then suddenly quite far away. It's a weird pacing visual issue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll get to that when we talk about that episode.
I think it's great.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive in.
Okie dokie.
To episode 6, Imposter Syndrome.
The classic 5 hours earlier intro. Great start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then we get the Predator holodeck because they want to reuse sets. So I don't believe this ship is big enough to waste this much space for a holodeck. Because there's the super inefficient holodeck design. But whatever. It's a reuse of a set, so it's fine.
Well, they have 8 of these apparently on Voyager, so.
Well, they've 8 holodecks of some kind. Don't.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's helping, and it's amazing how these people, they just broke the universe, and the crew know they broke the universe because you don't, like, Janeway knows doing this sort of stuff hurts the universe, and yet they're unsupervised, and the supervision is super small. It's unreasonable how little, like, they should honestly be like locked, like told to stay in their quarters for at least a day as punishment for breaking the universe.
Yeah.
Irrespective if it was their fault or not, they caused it. Give them some time out time. This is odd to go straight to, you're fine, just do your own thing. It's like, well, no, that's not really,
Yeah.
Temporal prime directive and all that. Because no one in these episodes registers the fact that the universe is now different, that they broke time, that there's now an alternate timeline. It's really quite important. They just gloss over it for 2 episodes. It's really crazy. Almost, anyway.
Well, Olivia, $5. Sam, we missed you. Do you miss Sam too? I mean, how can we not? Catch Sam Kirk on Strange New World Season 3, coming soon to Paramount Plus. Oh. Sorry, Sam.
Always such nice
mustache
things that get through, and
sorry.
Yeah.
I'll move on. Ray Ricks, £5. Makes sense. Wesley would become a space hipster. And Mark Lawrence is here. Remember, for 30 or 53 months at the rank of Federation Council. That's a damn long time. Thank you, Mark. I really hope that enough people watch and rewatch so that we get another season or 3. This really is the best Trek show, and it got 20 episodes a season, unlike all others.
And Mark, check your email because you got the links. Way.
Hey, links. Yeah, so they're testing out the holograms. They fooled them. They fooled everybody with the Jankum hologram, but he's not tactile, like you can put your hand through him. And then he goes a little bit weird and starts walking up the wall and onto the ceiling.
Yeah, pretty funny intro.
But they're talking about borrowing the Infinity to go and save Chakotay.
Because obviously have coordinates and stuff from previous episodes. And they're not telling the crew, even though they could transwarp there much quicker than they could warp there. But okay. What's it for?
And then the first officer just spills the beans and says, oh yeah, the Infinity, we're launching it into a sun tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Yes, I love how secret bays and classified missions that most people don't know still, because unless you're on the bridge, you wouldn't be told the information. Just walk up to it, it's fine.
Yeah, they leave the door open too while they're looking at the ship in the bay.
And people that can't go to the bridge because they've got access are now allowed access to the secret corridor up to the thing. So stuff like this just doesn't make sense. Like, okay, fine. And he wouldn't trust them again. They just broke the universe. He's not going to tell them these things. He's going to say, no, you're trouble. Go back to your room, kids. But he just, this is funny. It's like, no, it's very mishandled.
Yeah, even telling non-Starfleet officers, oh yeah, this ship's highly illegal and Starfleet's ordered us to destroy it. It's like, okay, they already knew that it was illegal, but still, it's just not something that you'd see necessarily a first officer saying.
Yeah, it's main character syndrome. They're important because they're important, but this wouldn't happen. And you could easily have set this up, like if Janeway had told, Janeway had said these are like given all access because their special skills help us finish missions, but they're not. They have no reason to be on the ship except plot currently. And in fact, as of 10 episodes, there was no reason for them to be on the ship ever. She hadn't picked them there, and they've not said why in 10 episodes. I don't think there's a reason, Stu. I think that's going to be just a non-thing.
It is. Yeah, and the other thing is too, they're hanging around outside the shuttle bay of this ship that they already stole, and he just walks away. There's no security.
And
People
broke time, Stuart. You keep forgetting about the breaking time bit. Temporal Prime
That's
Directive.
the least important thing. Stealing property. I mean, I tell you, illegal property. No,
you've erased the Gwen timeline from the universe. I mean, it's not.
Who?
Yeah.
SPS Guru 2,005 euros. Thank you. Did you think they made their hologram sentient, even if accidentally? It sure seemed like it. That's one of the problems. I'm glad that Rock got in there to fix things, but the fact that even the holograms didn't know they were holograms, even though after they locked the other kids in the holodeck and left, we're not the holograms. Gwen still glitched. Like, do they not see the visible glitch?
That's easy for them to not see.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, they were just a very smart Fairhaven, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no, they weren't sentient. They were just mimicking the fact they were based on troublemakers and given all their skill set. And I'm assuming they had to allow themselves to get brain scanned to have all their memories, because that's certainly... They have to know their information to be able to do the stuff they do organically. So, but I mean, if that's part of the plan, they'd let themselves be brain scanned or whatever. Otherwise, you wouldn't interact organically. Yeah.
Yeah. But then we get them all together on the Protostar Bridge in the holodeck, and Rock has made all the necessary upgrades.
Good, Mark. Let me know what you think. Let me know what they think as well. Now, it was nice to see the Protostar. This was nice.
I like how Rock's like, yeah, it's easier to think here.
And she's been converted to have Janeway's coffee. That's quite cute too. Same mug as well.
So they're so well done that they think that they are the actual people.
And this is definitely fun. I was sold on this currently, but it gets more silly. It's a good visual. And it's certainly an interesting way of running away is to leave hollow duplicates to, but it just means the computer's trying to fool you. Like, it's odd, you're telling the computer to fool the ship and the crew, and of course it's canon, and it's confirming that hollow projectors everywhere. Oh, obviously they don't ever mention that, but of course, which is odd then, the fact that EMH every time he gets hit, he goes back to the holodeck if there's hollow projectors everywhere. And that happens. Like,
that is weird. It happens in sickbay. The loom knocks it off his arm, and he goes right back to the holodeck.
Okay.
Yeah, actually.
I mean, I don't think that's meant to make sense. It's just there as a thing.
You're not supposed to think about it.
Nope. There's definitely more of that this season than last season, I feel like. But again, no red flags here. Just because they've locked the door. No red flags. Oh no, I'm sure it's just broken. Oh. Yes. It's like, no. And
the odd thing is, when Janeway does get in, all the real people are hiding. The holograms are the ones that are talking. And she at one point she looks like she's looking behind one of the consoles, like she can actually see them, and didn't say anything. I thought that was a little weird, but yeah, it's fine.
And I couldn't tell who was who.
No.
So it just felt like chaos and
Yeah. SPS Guru 2000 throws in €5. Thank you. Also, there is no way a holographic Zero could read minds. Could only read the minds of the other kids.
Yes,
they point that out. It can actually read all the other holograms' minds.
Yeah, that was actually kind of funny.
Program sharing.
That's the proof. But real Zero couldn't read the holograms. But hologram Zero couldn't read everyone else, just the hologram. So each would think that they were real because they could read the people who's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, of course, that in theory, that's the computer dictating that this hologram can access the data pathways from the other programs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do make a point of saying it's just that the holographic Zero can read the other holograms. That's it.
But like I say, at this point, I think I was realizing, oh no, we have just lowered the stakes down to a 3 again. The way Janeway's acting.
Yeah.
It's like they've closed the breach. They would have slipstreamed home, which would take a couple of days given their previous speeds. Why are they not doing that? I guess they're gonna go blow up the thing, but then There's a real lack of tension here that's just whiplash.
Yeah. So they got to get on Infinity. Yeah, not the holograms. If the holograms do, they will blip out. So they have to try to find their holoduplicates and make sure that they don't steal the Infinity, which is just becomes nonsense at some point because they're just.
And the only scene I like is his very first one where the real Dal meets the fake Zero, who doesn't know the real Dal's escaped. So the fake Zero is like,
Are you sure it's not the real Zero and the fake Dal? You don't know. That's
no, you do know, because this Zero doesn't know that they've escaped. The real Zero knows that they've escaped, but this Dal knows they've escaped. So this Dal has to be real. This Dal has to be fake.
Gotcha.
Only this one time that can happen, but I like that. Like instantly, he got it wrong because they picked the one, and then then it just becomes constant. And then, like I said, they never bump into anybody except a lead character, which is not really a count. And also, I'm left wondering, Hologram Dal had a hologram phaser?
Yep, I was wondering that too.
Which is not going to have the same ability as a real phaser.
Unless they stopped by and got one from one of the phaser areas.
Which would make sense, I suppose. But I also kept wondering throughout the whole thing, like, a hologram cannot take a phaser blast at all. So all they have to do is phaser lowest setting and, like, shoot each other, shoot their arm, and we could work it as a hologram in 1 second. And it wouldn't hurt, and it wouldn't damage the program. Like, you could easily prove you're not a hologram just by shooting yourself and saying, computer, if I'm a hologram, reset me. Okay. I'm back. Oh, I guess I'm a hologram. That's it, right? It wouldn't take many seconds.
Yeah. Ray Ricks, £5. If only having a brain scan makes them not sentient, does that make the Picard golem not sentient? Another psychological question from Star Trek Tech. If only having a brain scan makes them
I've got to answer that, but I'll let you go first.
No, go ahead, because I'm still trying to.
So it is different because this is a ship's computer using memories in its artificial way to create a pattern and a program to deal with somebody. A golem was a flash copy of a brain into a flash organic replica of a brain. Carbon copy, it restarts and then turns on again. There's no like computer processing it. It's an organic thing doing organic things. Now data would be, if you put a brain scan of a human into a data, it would be a copy. That's actually properly a mechanized thing. But no, that would be different. But of course, he's still not Picard. He's still a clone of Picard, but he's still a clone of Picard, right? It's like Picard, it's just a clone of Picard.
Yes.
But anyway, shenanigans, including sorry for the Vulcan. They don't want to flirt, I guess.
Jankum versus Jankum as to who can fix the replicator.
And again, totally empty sets. And it's fine if there was night shift, but they don't. So.
Well, we know it's between 6 and 8 because they said Infinity's launching in 2 hours. It's supposed to launch at 8 a.m. So it's between 6 in the morning and 8 o'clock. This one.
So second shift, yeah. And people getting up for the next shift. The Jankum bit I thought was the cleverest bit, but the real Jankum has his mid bullshit crisis.
Yeah,
that was quite clever.
And then the two rocks, of course, they're going to work together because they like science and solving problems.
I like
a problem tunity.
Yeah, no, that was lovely. That was obvious.
Yeah.
And this is the same sort of scene again and again, leading up to the first scene. Fire extinguisher, which feels out of place. And then more twists, and then everyone's there, and then it makes you then forget who's who, because we had sort of known, that person must be real. Resets again to like no one's anyone again. And it's fine, we'll work out who's who. So therefore we'll walk through this abandoned ship, through 4 corridors, all 14 of us, or 12 of us. And also, why is the computer not, like, if there's meant to be life signs, why is the computer not saying, warning, there are 2 slime devils aboard? That's probably kind of worrying. Why is our crew confidence increased? I don't know.
Anyway, that's a good point. So they take them to the holodeck. They shut down the holoduplicates until after they're launched, when they reinitialize. And yeah, then they get on Infinity. But these are people in the mess hall during the power, like, zoop, where the power kind of goes out for a second. The doctor phases out for some reason in sick bay, which makes me think that he was linked to the sick bay's hollow emitters, but he was wearing his portable emitter at the time. I don't know. It's kind of silly. It's all right. I mean, there's a lot of repetitiveness, literally, in this one. But yeah, which is kind of funny considering that they're also duplicates of the characters, so it is repetitive.
Yes. And it's funny because the whole episode is just to get you back to where you started, which is a plan to get off the ship. It's literally an episode to pad an episode with fun, but that's entirely the purpose of it.
But the Infinity launches without them on board. They're like, oh no. And it's like,
but the Vulcan helps them get on. She doesn't lie to the Doctor.
Yes.
It shows she's now abandoned her friends to have these friends be her friends.
Yes.
Despite breaking time together despite knowing your other classmates for 3 years at the academy, you're going to trust these people after 2 days over them, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like,
So the kids beam on Infinity.
How do they beam on Infinity?
Hmm?
How do they beam aboard Infinity?
With an emergency transport.
When the Infinity shields up? And if it doesn't, then wouldn't it be destroyed? It wouldn't be destroyed much quicker than there.
It wouldn't have.
No.
It would have launched it far enough from the sun. It's pretty far from the sun.
I mean, the sun's pretty big to me.
Well, yeah, but it's a blue giant. Of course, it's big there. That's from far away. And yeah, they make a point of saying never would have thought to mask an emergency transport. But anyway, so they get on board.
Super easy.
And
no inconvenience at all.
Yeah, and Voyager doesn't bother to wait for the evidence that it's destroyed. It just cloaks and
it's funny because you could literally see the ship, and it's not even small. Like in relative to, I've done enough space scenes to know that's not very far away. So, and it's funny if the argument is they're out of sensor range. If it's that close, then they'd be looking at the ship with like zoom, right? Because you can zoom in on scanners and still be visual, and you'd see the thing cloak unless you blink. So there's zero chance they're ignoring the one thing they're there to do before they confirm it's destroyed. Not gonna happen. So, doesn't and you can see him looking at it in the next scene, but not zoomed in. It doesn't make sense, and it's daft.
SPS Guru 2,000, €5. Does Majel dye part of her hair white, or are those supposed to be specular highlights? I think she dyes part of her hair white.
It can be a stylish Vulcan.
Yeah.
We're in the future, stylish. And also, I'm wondering why, if they look, they went to warp. If they can chase them later, why can't they chase them now? Why won't they detect a thing going to warp? Because if the scanners are being disrupted by the Blue Giant's vicinity, then okay. Then how are you suddenly detecting it? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, they reboot the holograms, and they'll have they'll have different personalities.
Which is funny, but doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, Rock is in Jankum. Jankum is in Rock. Murph is in Gwen. Gwen is in Dal. I think. I get confused. Anyway.
They're only like 4 scenes though, so it doesn't really matter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because that could have been an entire like half-season premise, honestly. Because they all did a good job being each other. I like Dal being Zero, I think is what we said. I thought that was really entertaining. There you go. Episode 6, Stuart. Your thoughts now I've looked at it once again. And does it hold up now compared with our review, etc.?
No, it gets more annoying the more I watch it, honestly. It's one that could be very, very condensed. I would prefer that. It's fine. There's too many anomalies and too many things that don't make a lot of sense, especially at the end with the destruction or not of the ship. So it's just fine. It's It's okay.
Yeah, I love
it's
her.
just
This Admiral Janeway, destroyer of the Borg, savior of the Delta Quadrant. She won't bother confirming that the thing that she's getting in trouble for is destroyed, that stopped time and erased time. Nah, not even going to confirm.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's just an alright episode, honestly.
So what is your score out of 10 for this the enjoyment and a Prodigy overall?
For enjoyment, this is probably going to be a 6.2. For all of Prodigy, I think it's like a 6.4.
Okay.
I guess. How about you? What about you on multiple viewings? And now talking about it, what are your thoughts?
Looking forward to the next one, Stuart. It's not good. It's not bad, but they can, should, and would do better. That's all I'm going to say. I think score-wise, what hit my brain straight away, I'm going to give both the same score for overall Prodigy and for enjoyment. Both 4.5. Might be their weakest episode so far. Just for construction and quality and dialogue and pacing and logic, just it's not good. It's not bad, but 4.5. It's below the average bar for certain. Which is a shame, because it could have been a really great premise, but it wasn't. So,
yeah.
All right, episode 7.
The Fast and the Curious. Bum, bum, bum.
I wonder what they're referencing there, Stuart.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway.
Star Trek Beyond, of course, because the director.
Yeah, so anyways,
this episode?
It starts off... Oh. This one's just a step in the journey of Zero. You have to break the body before you can replace the body. And then we built a whole episode around how that happened. It just feels a little bit to me. And it's kind of great seeing a Kazon back, I guess. But honestly, this felt more like a TOS episode with the machine on the planet that's controlling everything and da-da-da. Had that vibe to it. I enjoy this one probably a little more than Imposter Syndrome, slightly. But a lot of this episode is just watching ships whiz through rings and avoid hazards. Like it's essentially a race. So there's not a whole lot to this episode. That's my thoughts. How about you?
Yeah, I like this one better than the previous one visually, and it makes more sense, even if the sense only comes in the last like 3 minutes, which is an odd pacing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is to be a great season 1 episode.
Yeah.
Especially first 10. Action, adventure, shows her skills, great. But when you're dealing with timeline being broken, this is absolutely filler, and you could have done it in many, many better ways, and a waste of the Kazon being the one and only. And also, there's no explanation of the transwarp conduit, it's just there. Why is there no buoys or a Starfleet patrol?
Well, it is outside Federation space. That's said in the next episode. Because Janeway's at the transwarp conduit, and Jellicoe's talking to her, and it's like, why are you leaving Federation space?
Although that also means there's a border, which means you have detectors on the border, which means you'd be able to detect this anyway. Because they do know where this is, right? Like they just see it. Oh, there's one. Like it's not as if they search for it. And I love the fact they finally address, this will take 64 years, right? That's great. But then to bump into a transit
61 days.
Whichever. But then to bump into a conduit,
big difference.
happenstance to be right there, unguarded, it's just such coincidence that you don't even need to put into the plot anyway to then cause a problem, right? It just feels like a problem. But I like their logic about we don't like the Borg, etc. That's all good. And I like the joke about the ship being a shithole for so many people. It's not even designed for like more than a day's mission, let alone this.
Yeah.
I mean, so I like a bit of that, but the ship has not grown on me really, and we know what happens to it, and it's just
it's a non-thing. It's
a non-thing. It's funny because one of our fans who might be in the chat said, "You'll like it more as it goes on." I'm like, well, it's there more. I don't think there's any personality really, apart from Nebuchadnezzar, which is great, but like it doesn't.
Which they don't even use that feature again.
No, which is good because they really shouldn't be able to because of the whole portal. Which I'm glad. because I thought it was gonna be a time travel machine. I'm glad it wasn't. Although why is there bunks in a ship that's designed to go back and do one mission?
Well, if you have to land and you'll be there a couple nights, who knows? Yeah. Probably just a good idea to have them.
Although it's funny because it means that because the crew is Janeway and like those people, so they give them bunks. They gave an admiral bunks because they designed this ship, right? So they could have given them a nice bedroom. Bunks. So good for Janeway to put a slum it on a bunk.
Space is at a premium when you've got a ship like this. So
it's a comfy bunk. It's a top premium linen bed.
It's got memory foam. That's what it does.
Hollow memory foam. But yeah, they're going to transwarp it up, and they go there, and they turn it on, and it's that easy.
Yeah,
it's that easy. And they go through it, and it's that easy.
It's just a huge shortcut to where they're going, because it would normally be 61 days. Mm-hmm. They didn't say how much time it would take off, but
they were careful not to.
Yeah. I love that they're complaining at the beginning how small it is and to spend 61 days in a stink box like this. But yeah, they find the transwarp hub, they activate it with a tachyon pulse, as you do.
It is that easy. Yeah. Thank goodness Borg designed their stuff to be turned on and usable, and that's fine. It's all good. And they go through it, and they get hit by a Kazon. I don't know how exactly there's a Kazon. I'm not even going to go into it, Stuart. It's not worth my time. This happens, and then it gets pulled out, which you'd think would damage it heavily, because normally you turn it off, you don't go through it. It normally implies you'd destroy the ship or damage it, and again, there's no issue. So I'm not even going to go into it. Doesn't feel right, but whatever. Moving on.
And they land at a strange place where they need some fresh air. They go outside, and it smells like sulfur.
And this is a thing that we saw blow up in the trailer. I was very excited because I thought, oh, look, very Varna Catty.
Yeah.
It isn't, of course. But
so everybody
nice.
gets
Visually, it's cool.
Yeah. Everybody gets taken hostage except for Zero and Murph, who were on top of the ship and checking out the thing.
And it's funny because I was very much talking to the TV at this point, saying, why are they not scanning for life forms and knowing they're there? That's a plot hole. But of course, it's a giant computer. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like they're not scanning. We see people. We get people. They're not. There's no. It works better second watch because there's nothing beyond. Right. It's very straightforward. Like people grab, people play, people die. Moving on. So the fact that there's all these plot holes is just because the computer's not very smart.
Yeah, well, it doesn't care. It's not that it's not smart; it just doesn't really care.
Well, it's not thinking about it. But it's like there's always passive scanners. There's always like that's what I thought. There'd be tricorders and like there's two. You can see them on the security cameras. You know, it's just yeah.
But back on Voyager, they are noticing, at least Nova Squad is, I assume the first off, like the command crew would be too, that the kids are all a little off in their personalities.
Little. And also using each other's wrong. Do they use each other's wrong names? Doesn't Rock use
No.
Nope. No. Okay.
Nope. They use the right names. Just
yeah. And I love that Dahl is now eating food because thinks it's Zero who can't eat.
Yeah.
And we get extras, Stuart. My God, we get extras.
You do. Dirt water.
Yeah. And
Rock doesn't like that dirt water.
And Jamie's like, okay. She takes it very well for being the coffee addict that she is.
Yeah. Anyway, but now we're back to the planet with the Kazon. Sorry. He wants tribute. He wants either their ship or gold pressed latinum for using the transwarp conduits.
What if they had said they do have gold pressed latinum? Would the computer have taken it?
I don't know. Good question.
Yeah. Is it a good question? I don't know.
It's a question.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so basically it talks about, well, if you can't pay, well, then you'll have to race. You'll have to fight. I need good competitors. I've got the best pilot, and I've designed some really cool ships. So if you win on my race course, your reward will be for your freedom.
Yes. And I was thinking, we've really jumped the shark of this plot. We've gone all the way to like we're like 6 minutes in, and this is already like, oh, okay, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Like I was waiting for the plot to begin because it's too straightforward and silly. I'm like, okay, where's the real plot? And it does happen right at the end. We're like, okay, cool, I guess, maybe, kind of. But also, why are we not mentioning the time destruction in the universe? And it doesn't matter.
Well, at this point, Zero realizes that they're not the only ones to be pulled here, and you can see some ships.
Yes.
There's the Medusian ship on the far right.
Yep.
There's the Gorn ship right beside it. And then we got
a very, very large bird of prey, it looks like, ahead.
It's all the ships they've used in season 1.
But there's the USS Cairo 42136.
Yeah.
Which is the under part of that saucer, which is odd because it's not the bridge module of an underside of a saucer, but
yeah, various nacelles and parts. So
yeah, it's funny they've obviously got a cavort bird of prey there because otherwise they had to be too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. They introduced some very cool flyers and a really cool visual down to the core of the planet or some such.
Well, that's just Iron Man's arc reactor. It's the exact same.
Yeah.
I should do a side-by-side comparison because I was like, I hated when Iron Man went with the triangle shape. I prefer just the round personally, but hey.
Fair? Yeah. Personal preference. Funny. And again, here I was thinking, well, we're not going to meet the racers or any sort of connection to the plot. We're just going to jump straight. Okay. And again, it makes sense, but it's not well paced. It didn't make the first watch very enjoyable because it just feels like it's jumping all the sharks to get to this point.
Yeah.
Like same thing when they kill the people in the fires because they actually kill them. Dahl willingly forces them into some rocks and kills them. He's a murderer, but he's not because they're robots, and that's why no one cares, plot or people-wise. Very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we get like the TIE Advanced variant. Well,
and it's not a bad chase or anything. It's just why are we not talking about the time space plot? Why are we not trying to get Chakotay, right? Like, okay.
Yeah, there's nothing really gleaned from the race necessarily. Just that Dow's a little reckless. We already knew that. Rock is scared. Just give me boosters. You don't have to open your eyes. Just give me boosters. So we push everything on the console. I hated that. It's like, yeah, just blew up the ship. Good job.
Yep. And then he tries to cheat by killing them, sort of. And then they kill some of the other driver people, but they're not real people, so it doesn't matter.
It's just really not a lot to talk about, honestly. The Kazon's acting weird, like he's talking to himself. He's like, "Ooh, that was too loud." And
like he has a master, like Gollum, or like he's Gollum.
Yeah.
Yes, we did, Chris. We did indeed. And it's funny because I did this to you on our thing on Saturday. Had this been a assortment of a TOS shuttle, of a TNG shuttle, of a
Klingon shuttle,
yeah, like a proper, then this same race would be massively more visually interesting, canonly gorgeous, like golden, and you could have had things where Jenkins like, oh, I didn't know the Romulan ship could do that. Or let's use a tachyon pulse to disable this because that works for this tech. You could have really made it much bigger.
Wouldn't it have been cool if the Romulan shuttle or fighter like cloaked? And it's like, I don't even know where they are. How do we know if we didn't like, you know?
Yeah, and given they have a transwarp conduit, you could have justifiably say, here's a Dominion ship and a Delta Quadrant ship because transwarp. It would have been justifiable, right? I mean, the Kazon are right here on the edge of Federation space, so it's fine. But no, it is revealed that the two quiet Kazon are actually quiet Kazon robots.
Dun, dun, dun. So was the best pilot.
Yes. So it's all pilots.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a good reveal. But it's also like, okay.
Very TOS.
Yeah.
Look, a robot.
Yeah. Now, why is Murph not able to defeat these robots? This Murph specifically, his first scene was kicking butt. Why is Murph nerfed as soon as he gets out of the training?
That's a good. I thought the same thing.
He's the security officer.
I asked the same question.
Like, just ding, ding, rip, ding, punch, ding. Like, what's the point of Murph in these episodes? There isn't really one. Okay. Fair enough.
Yes. But anyhow, I gotta skip way ahead because it's all just race.
Oh, I'm well past. Yeah, but they get the Marge's inhibitor off, and he can think again, and he's very confused because this is not what he thought was happening. And they break through the ice, and they find the next scene where they're flying, and they're talking, and they're flying. Then we find Agamus, version 7.6, a throne of purple. The next sentient AI of the Trek universe, race robot, who's totally got some Borg connections because they speak with perfection in mind and being the best pilot and doing the cadence. And they also put chips on people to control them and also put tentacles to make them fly like the Queen. Very Borg imagery. Makes sense to the Borg conduit, so I bet they're based on nanoprobe tech in some way. But not. That's a villain.
Yeah. Well, they're not. Because since we've reviewed it the first time, when you go back and watch it, it says I was built by imperfect beings. Assuming the K's on.
Yeah.
That's what I assume.
Well, it's their facility, yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing that triggers it or makes it seem Borg visually. It does say perfection, but
built with Borg components because they're next to the conduit they've access to. That's what I mean. Like, they're built using Borg tech to make better, which explains why it went sentient and evil and perfection and taking over in robots. I mean, it all makes sense. It's just the Kazon were too stupid to not do that. Because the language is very specific in script. If you write it with the same cadence as something else, it's going to cause parallels. Because Agamus doesn't speak like this, or Peanut Hamper, right? It's very deliberately framed. And yeah, evil AI, kind of.
It wants perfection, but Zero's like, we're living beings. We are not perfect. Blah, blah, blah. It's TOS trope. 100%.
Controls Murph effortlessly with tendrils, and then Murph becomes a fighter. And then Zero gets captured, sort of, and it's okay. It's not particularly compelling, though. It's odd. This should be better, right? It should work better, but it really kind of doesn't. Although
the takeaway is that Zero is like, they're my friends.
Yes.
They're important. And
I love how
themselves into the console. And so.
Yes, I love how a giant energy fireball doesn't hurt any of them. Like, none of their eyes, none of their eye hair, none of their clothes. Like, it's amazing that. It's a giant energy ball that literally explodes the glass of the building and they're one step from it and they're fine. It's not good. It's not good structurally. But now Zero's broken. Sad face.
Yep.
And then they leave this lone guy with no one there, no ship probably. It's like, I didn't leave him to die there. I felt really sad for this guy. It's not his fault.
He's got a bunch of ships. Maybe some of them aren't wrecked. He didn't have them all in the race. I don't know.
I mean, they haven't had to have anybody there real for years, possibly. I feel sad for this guy, right?
We're lost. That's not an answer. Kids show.
No, it's an answer, but when they do good stuff, we say it's not a kids show. But yeah, I mean, they're allowed to.
They deal with a lot of stuff that is really advanced for kids, honestly. So
those Wesley scenes are not for a kids show.
Does explain quantum mechanics pretty well to kids, honestly. How things
Darth
work.
Maul's here.
Ooh, hi Darth Maul. Then back on Voyager, we get Gwendala glitching out, which is actually kind of Murph, and Magell notices.
No crew again.
Yeah. Goes to knock on her door, and time freezes. And then these tendrils come in and try to grab Gwen and realize, holy shit, it's a hologram. And they take off, and then time starts again.
Yes. Now, this I feel like is going to be the biggest plot point of the second 10 episodes. A simple hologram can fool out-of-time god beings that are purely there to stop time problems.
To eat time fragments that shouldn't exist, yeah. The hologram tricked it.
And a hologram that has no explicit temporal problems.
And no Gwenisms, because it's Murph.
Yeah. This tricked it. Entirely tricked it.
Because these wouldn't track something visually. They track something quantum signaturally. Yep. So did Rock quantum signature, put her quantum signature into the or Gwen's quantum signature into the hologram.
Yes.
To duplicate the BIOS.
Yes.
Maybe.
It's pretty incredible that this fooled it, and I'm sure it's gonna be a huge plot point, like I said, because this is like this is the answer. Like, just make 5,000 holograms, and then they'll have to kill everybody because they'll fool. Make 5,000 Gwens. Like, that's the solution, right? It's not, you know, is odd on second viewing, right? It works. There's no ifs or buts here.
Yeah.
And also, it's interesting in the next episode, I believe they say that time does stop for 5 minutes.
8 minutes.
8 minutes, yeah. So it actually does affect local time. So it's not pausing actual time. It's time dilating local time, which is a different ability set. Because a Q could just stop reality, but this can only stop it locally. That means that everyone's now eight minutes younger or older, or, you know, their birthday is now whatever. Yeah, everyone's lost 8 minutes of their birth year, but not of their lifetime. Weird. Alright, so what do you think of the episode? And what is your review scores?
So episode 7, The Fast and the Curious, was kind of all right. It was fun, fast action, like lots going on visually as far as the race goes. That was kind of cool. I didn't mind the stuff at the end with the computer and with Zero. Kazon could have been any species, honestly. There's no importance to that, but like I said, it had kind of a TOS story vibe to it. You know, fight for your freedom, and there's, oh my god, it's all controlled by robots. So I enjoyed it a little bit more than Imposter Syndrome, but like I said, not too much probably. So personal enjoyment score, 6.3.
That little bit more. that 0.1 bit more.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
For Prodigy, what did I give the last one?
6.4.
6.4. 6.8 then for this one.
So it's getting close to 3/4 best Prodigy.
Sure, yeah.
That is the problem with this scale, is that we know this show can't do worse than like a 5, really, of like, but it
exactly
can, but it can't, but to its own scale.
Even when it's bad, it's better than a lot of Discovery.
Yes.
So
exactly.
It's not bad. It's not bad ever. Like, it's still good, but it's not Trek goodness.
One of the weaker ones.
Yes. How about you? On this discussion that we talked so in depth and detail about this one particular episode, did it change your mind?
I think that speaks volumes, right? I mean, I was scrolling. You guys saw I was scrolling. I mean, there's almost nothing to talk about in the abstract, apart from some pacing problems. Yeah, this is very much a good season 1 episode, awfully placed in season 2, and that's a problem. And it like I said, make the other race ships actual alien ships. Make a Vaudois ship. Make an Alice. That'd be great, right?
Yeah,
you could have massively improved it, or even, let's be honest, because it's a sentient AI, right? Have all the other because you don't know the masks aren't masks. Have the races like talk, like not shop talk, but banter, you know. Whatever, right? Talk interactively to try and like goad them, so you get some fun personalities where it's just playing. So you get an AI who's just being like a dick, and one's being very wax lyrical, and like have a bit more middle quality to not just have race, and you'd have a bit more depth, because it's just a bit empty as a narrative, which I think is kind of, again, the payoff. It literally is empty, right? But it doesn't feel good the first watch.
It's a we gotta break Zero's body episode.
Yes.
Let's do that in the last 2 minutes.
Personal enjoyment more than last week, but that's not a high bar, of course. I'm gonna go flat 5, because it is right on that line of like, it's fine, it's an okay episode. Over Prodigy also 5. I can't, right, you know, most of season 1's better than this, right?
Yeah.
At least more interesting. So second week of the season yet. But that's okay, because now we're going to episode 3 of this 5, where I do think things start to kick up.
And this is episode...
And do you guys have any Super Chat scores? Because we haven't had Super Chat in a while. We skipped over the first one. Any scores you want to throw in, guys? Because we've obviously just got so much to look at today, but do you guys have any scores you want to give? Let us know.
And of course, the next one that we're talking about is on the screen there. Is there in beauty no truth? Which is episode 8.
Yes. Yes, has basically. Temporal tentacles, yes. Well, no, the Kazon's AI built a robot. Well, I guess. Oh, they built a computer. The computer built a robot.
Yeah. So we got some 6 out of 10, 6.4. Ozzy gives it an 8.
Because I like giving things more grounded scores, because then when things get into the 9, you really mean something. If this is an 8, then a 9 is either that bar is so much higher, or the 9 points mean something.
Yeah.
It's like when you give a wage due to 9.9 or a 10, it's like, yeah, that's because there's a reason for that, right? And I'm hoping there's going to be a 10 this season, or 9.5 or something, you know. I'm hoping, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the 2 episodes that Aaron Walker wrote last season. Like, those like so much stand above. Nothing here has been even close to that. But those are specifically the cut above, right?
Yeah. Anyways, if anyone else super chat in scores for these first 2 that we talked about, please do so while we get underway on the next one.
Yeah, we got a rather good comedic We Can't Fix Zero. It's nice little beat. Sad. He's now reduced to just a glowing ball. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, even though I can't move, I'm still helpful. I mean, they have limited parts on the ship, so Jankum tries to fix them, but
although interestingly, they have limited parts, but they also have replicator to replicate the Medusan, because those are not going to be on the ship by default.
Yeah,
Zero chance in hell.
Would assume they use the replicator on the ship to modify it to become the time ship as well, because they have to build parts for that. So
yeah, so why can't they build pieces for Zero?
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Wow.
I mean, they're specialist pieces, but you'd think so would this, and so would time. Yeah, if you can build a time machine with replicator parts, why can't you build parts for Zero's legs when you presumably well, wouldn't necessarily be on the schematics, but yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, Zero gets a communication from non-corporeal entities that say they can help, they can fix their body, and Dal's like, "No, we got a mission to do. I don't want to make a pit stop." Kind of like me when I'm driving. It's like, I don't want to make a pit stop. But
he says no. They
basically get talked into, or Dal gets talked into doing it, and it's like, I'm going, woohoo.
I mean, they just say, you know, this can wait. You're important to us. So it's quite sweet, you know.
Yeah.
But again, at this point in my watch, I accepted the pace has slowed down to a crawl. So I've got over the shell shock of 5 to 6 to 7. Now I'm like, okay, we're now in pause. We're lingering. I accepted my fate. So this worked better for me because I was down in the 5 of pace. So it was fine, right?
Yeah. But then we basically become Star Trek Prodigy Avatar.
And also Star Trek Prodigy, because we have now a single ship they stole. They're flying around the quadrant.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, with agency, going exploring stuff. This is literally the season 1 episode. Yeah. Which I think why it works better. This is a more pure episode. Although, it's funny. Why are they not at warp originally in the asteroid field? And then why do they go back into warp? If they went to transwarp to go to his coordinates, why are they out of warp? And the irony is, these coordinates, there are asteroids here that look identical to the asteroids from the coordinates they go to in episode 9. So they might already be there and then go somewhere else. Because why are they not at warp? Why are they not travelling? And why are they not back at the transport conduit? I guess they can't go back into it necessarily, but Why are they not traveling in this episode? Why are they stopped and then can get to that planet in seconds? Because, like, they're right there? What luck? It's weird. Coincidence again.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Lost. It did me too. The yip yip bothered me. It's not the first time Zero has said
Oh,
yip yip.
yes. Like a lowercase catchphrase, yeah.
Yeah. It won't be the last, I'm sure. So, but yeah, it kind of annoys me too. Anyway, so they come out wearing the glasses, expecting non-corporeals, and it's like, no. We're non-corporeals in living bodies now.
Mm-hmm. Wait, they live now?
They live now. They feel now. And of course, typical cliche, oh, you've arrived just in time to celebrate our feast of the senses we're having tonight. We have it every day, apparently.
Oh, well,
I hate that.
Honestly, I kind of thought they did have it every day, though, in fairness. Like, it's not a special thing. I kind of like that they just do it every day, just for lols. Like, no one seems to die, so it's not that, Yeah. Now, I will say, I really liked the setup to this episode a lot. In the trailer, and I had skimmed this episode, obviously, looking for Voyager A shot, so I knew there was this, I knew there was an Avatar planet, and I thought it was an of-the-week planet, and it is, but it isn't. This is a really good concept. It's the Baku planet, but for non-sentient, for non-organic life forms. That's great. Yeah. Love that. They don't explain it, really, because who was there to build the tech? It doesn't matter. If this happened a long time ago, it's fine, right? We're past that. Great. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to bring it into the canon, because they mentioned other races, so it isn't just this species, but it's a revolution. This is a savior planet, right? So it's a really good way of grounding it in the mythos. So I like that. Now, you had said in another review, isn't this kind of against the idea of being non-corporeal? Because they've evolved out of corporealness to be non-corporeal, to be able to exist and live and not have to eat, and to bring themselves back into physical form to limit themselves? Seems like they never addressed that. What do you think?
Seems like a step backwards, but I understand living for hundreds of years and having generations of non-corporealness and not having feeling or senses and wanting to experience those again. I understand it, but yes, they evolved out of a physical body for a reason, and now they want to go back. I mean, it's like every sci-fi trope ever, returning to that simpler life, and I friggin' hate it. It's like, oh, let's go toil in the fields all goddamn day and then have a feast at the end of the season. That is the most ideal life ever.
Every day.
It's in every fucking sci-fi show. It's not the most ideal life. It's one of the tropes that annoys me immensely. I do not want to farm. I don't want to be covered in dirt. I don't want to. That's not the simple life is not for me.
Dirt. Yeah, it's real.
You know what I mean, though? Like it's that. But on a non-corporeal level, it's returning into a simpler form almost.
I know they didn't have time for this, but I would have adored if they had met 3 or 4 species here, and you had some semblance of, oh, I've been non-corporeal for 3.6 million years. I missed smelling coffee. Oh, I've been non-corporeal for 2.6 thousand years. I miss feeling grass. Oh, I was born non-corporeal. I just want to run with children. Like that level of like exploring the concept, because it's a broad spectrum of just non-corporeals are non-corporeal, and they have their own senses that they've presumably lost because they're now in organic bodies, or are they still balls of light inside heads, which means they're just a robot body? But that's not how they played it. They played it as if they're formed, there's a new body's formed around them, as if they're now.
And yet at the same time, you can see their non-corporealness through their eyes. Like it's almost like it is in their head, literally, and they just are controlling the body.
And you would think that they wouldn't add in hunger or pooping. But because that's a weakness, right? But Zero burped. Oh. Burp is a reaction to food. You wouldn't need the reaction if food's sustaining you. Like, they're not being sustained by the food. That's ridiculous. You wouldn't do that. But you'd want to taste the food.
The interesting thing, well, yes, exactly. The interesting thing for me, though, in this one is if you leave the planet, your body is going to degrade. It's like, no shit. You're non-corporeal. You're not used to a physical body. So if you in a physical body and you leave the planet, the physical body is going to age. It's not going to be revitalized by the planet's rings that decay into the atmosphere. So I get that. But you're just going to grow old. They play it like as soon as you leave the planet, you're going to start deteriorating and like falling apart. And technically you are in the grand scheme of things, because 100-year lifespan is nothing compared to like a non-corporeals. But anyway.
Well, 100%. And that would work better, I think, as a week on week. But to have the idea of you're going to degrade and played like you're going to fall apart next week, or every episode your skin's going to be starting to dismorph, whatever. But we've now seen two ahead. Now, yes, they're in the same day in theory, right? But pace-wise, no ill effects of any kind. Hey, Borat's here. Loved your movies. They're great.
Very nice. Great success.
Just don't use the prostitute wife, daughter, sister. Just stay away. Stay away. That was a tangent. Oh yeah, but I actually like what you said. It really is just for their perspective of living potentially thousands of years, degrading. Oh no, your body will degrade over 50 years. Feels like you will degrade over 50 years. And you get the pain of that and the degradation. You feel the loss of it, which is 1,000 cuts, right? You realise that you can't feel as well as you could 10 years ago. Oh, the pain. Well, in contrast to the living for thousands of years. So I think now, having seen the episode, nothing's gonna happen with that plot line. That's a season 3 or 4 plot line. No, eventually it'll happen, but really we don't. That was just a caveat. But structurally, it plays no part in the story. They'll be fine until they get killed or sacrifice themselves.
The other thing is, do you die, or does your physical body die and then you're just non-corporeal again?
Well, they're just shells.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just die and then you.
So you're not losing anything by leaving the planet. Honestly, you can go back and get another body later.
It's like being on crack cocaine and sense the universe through your skin. Once you lose it, you feel you've lost it. If you didn't know it, you didn't know it. So to go from senses to being a ball, you feel the loss. So there is a loss.
SVS Guru 2,000, €5. They are not doing the simple life thing. They are indulging in pure hedonism. Well, yes, that is also very true as well. But considering that they're non-corporeal, can go anywhere in the galaxy, live forever, if not thousands of years, live forever, right? To go back to a simpler time of when they were in physical bodies, limited. But the plus side is you can taste, you can feel, you can have sensations. I get what you're saying, but to a non-corporeal, that's a simpler life.
I mean, really, it's a holiday. They go on a holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a holiday to bang everybody, right? And by that I mean eat food. Clearly, that's what I mean.
Ray Ricks, £5. This reminds me a bit of the Q continuum, just being bored, being more highly evolved. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like it as a concept. It feels very in there. And you got to see a lot of extras. It actually kind of felt like a colony, which I liked. But back on the Pro Star, we get a game. I can't remember which game it is. So I left
that's Parisi Squares.
Very, very big Parisi. And this is, it's fine.
That's one of the things I really like about this episode is finally see what Parisi Squares is. We've heard about it. We've heard about how dangerous it is and how you can break a leg. Now to actually see it, this is a big plus for me on this one. So
I thought we saw it in DS9, but there's so many games we saw. Okay.
You don't see it in DS9.
Okay. But it's funny, this is just a trap to get them. Even though you could literally tell they're not themselves.
Yeah, it's like, do you need us to play another game, or have you seen enough? Oh, you can tell that they're different. I mean, thanks.
It's not difficult. I mean, the doctor do a psych evaluation after 65 seconds, he'll know, right? So it's kind of unnecessarily dumb of them, but I guess they're being careful.
Well, I love the way they kind of what's the exact quote here? Their life signs read completely normal, yet their personalities appear to be interchanged. And then they go through the whole a virus, a mind meld gone wrong. It's like because it's happened before where bodies have been, consciousness have been transferred.
A trope
so I love
is
that.
potentially an understatement.
And then it turns into, well, wait a minute. This was inspired by my novel. Which part? Valencia's torn between lovers? Or when Rodrigo holoduplicates himself? Oh, no. So the doctor realizes that him telling Zero that is the impetus for what they did to anyway. And I do also like the fact that they check the computer and say there are no other of their life signs on the ship. So where'd they go? All the shuttles are accounted for, except Infinity. Like, I love the way they come to the conclusion. I think it's well done.
The gentle sleuthing.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, and yes, they haven't seen Gwen for 2 days.
No one noticed.
Her biosignature has been gone for 2 days.
The lady who's out of temporal phase from a planet
That
of
you should-
people that want to kill everybody in
That
50
you should
years.
probably check on, because the armband is the only thing keeping her alive.
Who also, the Doctor last episode was actively like monitoring them all. No one checked on her. Which also means her life signs aren't on the ship because she was undone. So according to the computer, she's dead. And
Yep.
not once anybody think there's no alarm saying, warning, Gwen has been dead for 48 hours. I feel like if I was captain of a starship, I'd do simple procedures. Computer, warn me if anybody dies. Warn me if anyone leaves the ship. Warn me if the transport authorization. Just warn me these things, right? They're really important.
Yeah, that would definitely help in a lot of situations. Like,
Yeah.
so-and-so's life signs are no longer being read on the...
Just 2 days.
And the scene ends with Janeway saying, and Gwen, or this hollow version of her, find her. I need answers now. Then we come back to the planet.
Computer, activate Gwen hologram. Found her. She's in the computer. Where are we? We're next to the computer. Just turn her on. It's fine. And then it would say, warning, cannot activate. Fine. Back to the birth of a life form out of the smoke. Very Avatar. But in a good way.
Getting used to walking, getting used to a tongue in her mouth. Yeah. Or their mouth, sorry.
I wonder if Zero started corporeal, because goes from not ever having walk. Well, I guess I have but I guess that says robot legs can feel, because using feeling. Because I walk with feeling, sensing the pressure of my legs. I don't just walk through. Kid show. Don't think about it. Move on.
Yeah. But anyway, the Feast of the Senses. Let's go eat.
Giant chairs, Jesus. Twice their bodies. And these are big creatures. This is like a proper taller than adult, which sometimes anyway.
Yeah, taller than Rock.
And Rock's pretty tall.
Yeah. And Dal even points out, taller than me, but pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
Then they go on, taste some food. This is the best thing I've ever eaten. I'm thinking it's the only thing you've ever eaten. To which the next line is, it's the only thing I've ever eaten, which is great. So.
Yes. And it's all going to be carefully done for their metabolic rate, so it's going to be the best food they've ever eaten. And this is great because they can have extras, because everyone can be the same 3D model. And like they're all the same rough faces, so they can have extras finally, and it doesn't matter.
They even make a joke of that later, like, "Where's Z? Right beside me." Huh? Oh, it's not you.
Yeah.
It's like Avatar. They all look very similar. I don't want to say they look alike, because that just makes me sound racist. But you know. Anyway. So dancing. If you want to dance, go dance. And even Jankum and Rock get in on the dancing.
It's all pleasant.
Fun sensations.
I just wish they cared more about the universe being destroyed and the timeline being erased, but they don't seem to, so whatever. And boy, Wesley, man, he does not give a shit about the universe getting killed around him. He's letting them go and dance. You would think he'd be more preoccupied about getting them here. But I guess not.
Well, he can't interfere too much, so he sent them what he could.
Yeah, that's the whole predestination element of it. So he could have been here, but he couldn't have because he wasn't able to because he didn't. Then you get the joke about the inner bile, which is funny enough.
Oh, the stomach juices, yeah.
And then, oh no, now the plot starts. Are they evil and sinister? No.
Well, you gotta experience sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. What are we forgetting?
Farting.
Fear.
Oh.
Fear. Like the way it's said and the look, it's like meant to be ominous.
Mm-hmm.
But the feeling of mortality makes you feel alive. So.
It does make sense though. They've never had to worry about
Yes.
dying, and worry about dying is a genuinely new thing, and you know, adrenaline and such. Yeah, it makes sense. It's just you meant to consent to deal with fear, and they don't let him consent because they don't tell him. That's the only problem with it. Because, like, by ducking you avoid the creature. It's not that difficult, right? Yeah.
The running of the Nazamon.
Years.
SPS Guru at 2,000 throws in €2. Nah, it's all part of his plan. So far away. So far, anyway.
Yeah. Just you think you could just, you know, beam them to the past to solve it today.
Time doesn't matter when.
It doesn't. Except people that got killed on Voyager from the Time Moths because they didn't bring them now. Erased from history. A lot of people.
But nobody will ever miss them because nobody knew they existed, so it's fine.
So many parents are now
Why
like,
does this ship have a crew of 8? Have a capacity for crew of 800?
oh
and we only have
yeah,
400 people here. What?
that is a
we go-
parallel. Hey,
Did we
I
go
like,
in short-sighted?
I like that. I hadn't thought that. But can you imagine how many people are on Earth right now being like, oh, I wish we had kids. They're like 80 and they're like, I wish we had kids when we were young, and oh, I always wanted a kid. Why didn't we? There. It's like, that's not an answer, is it?
Ozzy, $5. Here is one Janeway was full admiral in movie. Now she rear admiral. What about? She's a vice admiral, not a rear admiral.
Yes. Isn't that both vice admirals? Wasn't she vice admiral in Nemesis?
I believe so.
Does it
I don't
count?
know.
Yeah.
She's not a full admiral. She's still being told what to do by.
Yeah,
like,
she's not the most.
Jellicoe.
She's not the most admiral of admiral, but she's an admiral.
She's an admirable admiral.
She is.
I know. I was there. What?
Wow.
Anyway, so they go up, pick up the flowers, and
Mhm.
you get to the other side. You're fine, but this makes you feel alive. Let's run. Cool.
Well said.
Matthew DeFreitas, $5. Love that y'all are reviewing at this pace. I got antsy and finished it. Season 2 is a treat. Yep. We'll have a few next week as well. I don't know exactly. Might get to the end of it next week. We might have 2 breakdown reviews. We'll see. Because the following week, Sam's coming here before going to Vegas. So, yeah.
But no, this whole sequence looks nice. It's relatively pretty. It's relatively well shot. It just amuses me that Dahl, who's like 4'2", can run as fast as Gwen, who's like 5'9", and as fast as Zero, who's like 6'7". And legs length make a massive difference in running. So he has to be running actively much faster. It's a small note, but it just feels daft when you're watching it. Like they can't run at the same speed without radically different exertion. I do like the creature a lot. Great design, very familiar yet nice.
Just a manta ray with extra tails that can fly.
Yeah, but it looks nice. I do find
Yeah,
the inside silly because you can see it's a flat texture, like it feels like what it is versus the outside. But it's a big thing to say, like, get that close to a 3D model like that. That's a big build. And also, they do a lot of pausing and talking in the scene when they should be dying, potentially. There's a bit of that. And then right at the end, they're like, and I guess because we left, because it went away, now it's done. It's like, no, you're still in the middle of the field with the flowers. But they end the scene as if the thing knows to end now, but there's no actual narrative reason why the thing stops chasing you. They just sort of say, well, we decided it's the end of the scene now. Which, again, pacing-wise doesn't really work. Because it's and even the music's like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, we did it! It's like, no, it's just there. We did it! No, it's coming in. No, next scene. It's like, no, you still got flowers? Okay, moving on.
It knows not to eat us anymore.
It does.
Can't it hear the music?
Again, slight pacing problem, but they've decided they're finishing the plot, so they're finishing the plot.
And then they talk about our Z is like, I wasn't given the option. I wasn't told about this. My friends risked their lives, I guess, to come and tell me this. So I want to be with them. I understand most people don't want to leave here, but I want to be with my friends. Essentially, is what happens. So
yeah, fair, makes sense. And I appreciate it could have gone the True Menace route, because for a split second in the middle, I was expecting that there might have been a bit where They were to like rip apart the body to defeat them and then choose to go back into the ball as like I won't take this body, be part of your society. It was something really kind of gruesome and but that's fine.
Yeah.
We're all good.
But back on Voyager, they found the Gwen hologram. And now it has the appropriate personality. Okay. And then we get the realization there was a gap of roughly 8 minutes missing in the ship's logs. And they unfreeze the Gwen program, and she has a friggin' panic attack.
And why can't they access her eyes from the computer? And because the reason this program glitches out is because the program is supposed to experience it. If you just loaded up the visual records from the program, you wouldn't need to have the emotional. You could see.
Good point.
Because it's a computer. Its information is in the computer. There's no distinction here whatsoever. Just saying.
Yeah, the Gwen hologram says she can hear the things that came to get her, such awful sounds. Couldn't move, like time stopped. So she felt everything that happened, and she knew what happened. Even though it was Murph's personality inside her.
So how did like she's the computer. So how did the organisms freeze time but allow the computer to keep recording in 0 time all this information?
That's interesting point.
Because the computer is either fully functioning or it's frozen. Because if the computer core is not frozen, why is the? I mean, they don't know that. They don't know the answer. There's no answer. There's no reason.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. Darn it.
So they shut down her program because she's freaking out, and then it's like, we better find these creatures, otherwise we may lose more than just 8 minutes. Dun dun dun. That's the end.
And the universe, which is breaking apart.
General Grievous, $2, reminds me of Alioth from Loki.
Ooh, which one's Alioth?
Don't know.
I've seen all Loki, but I don't remember Alioth. Google this now.
Googling. All right.
And Marie looks like she's almost here, which is good. Oh yeah, the big creature at the end, the big kill everything creature. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's the end of Is There in Beauty No Truth?
Mm-hmm. Which of course TOS reference.
Yes, Is There No Truth in Beauty?
Which I didn't catch because I didn't know the episode titles going in, but having afterwards realised that, good reference.
Yeah.
So Stuart, what is your overall thoughts of Season 2, Episode 8, and the last episode of the padding of Part 2 of Season 2 before the main plot begins? And has this discussion changed your thoughts at all?
A little bit. The discussions made me question a few more things, like the hologram thing, but it's fine. It's just that's to move the plot forward. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It is still a kids show at the end of the day.
If you actually like thinking about it, yeah. It's Avatar, the Star Trek episode, and it's fine. I love that there was no menace with not being able to leave the planet, because I was really expecting that. Like, if you leave the planet, you will eventually die. We don't get that necessarily. We don't know that when the physical body breaks down or dies, that Zero will die. It could just be that they become non-corporeal again, and that's fine. So it's fine. I think it's better. It's more enjoyable to watch than the last two for me. So again, it's that step up. And yeah. Score-wise, for enjoyment factor, maybe give this a 6.8 for enjoyment. For all the Prodigy, it's still probably around the 6.5, 6.6 area for me. There's so many better Prodigy episodes that I'd much rather watch. But this was to get a new body for Z, and that's fine. It's not just a one episode body, so that's cool.
And also, Murph has no part of the story, Rock has no part of the story, Jankum has no part of the story. It's very, very focused.
Yeah.
But it keeps showing how little they have in the overall narrative, really.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's one of the best out of the three we've looked at. It's the most
Yeah.
cohesive. It's the least plot hole ridden. Zero is a good character in general, but not deep sort of on purpose. And this changes the paradigm, but in a, I thought, pun intended, organic way. And it's a good look. I approve of the design. There's no inherent abilities gained. Nothing lost, except flying, I suppose. Well, that's quite big, because that was a rather important episode.
That helped them a few times, yeah.
But it works well. It's paced better as well. Once you accept this is it's not filler, but it's filler narrative, important plot point. And I wonder if it was going to come into play again. I mean, with Slipstream, they can jump back here tomorrow, and it wouldn't be an issue, really. Or like within a couple of days. The hologram stuff's okay. It didn't go very far, and it wasn't super interesting, but it was some. It's one of the things where they had a good idea, but didn't have time or energy to commit to the bit, because it's, again, time being destroyed. Hologram, stop bodies bit. Like, again, this feels nothing when you have this, but we need something on Voyager to justify the Voyager, right? At least when we had the Dauntless, it was like, we missed him. We got the Diviner. There's always like a step forward. This is a step forward to get to the null space of, oh look, they're gone. But I do enjoy it more. I think just structurally it was better. Just structurally as a piece of whatever. And was the Vulcan, wasn't it? Magel?
Magel?
Some.
She wasn't in it. She wasn't in it. She was in it just in the replay of the computer footage.
On the I just remembering it. But for me, I'm going to go possibly even in the 7s, maybe, because it's better. Because, like I said, Prodigy, even when it's not great, it's still better. And the enjoyment, I'm gonna go 7. Just flat 7. But overall, Prodigy, I think I'm gonna go 6.5. So I think for what it did it quite well. But overall, Prodigy, there's a lot better stuff done. But I enjoyed it more than So from a 5 to a 7. So that's a big jump for me between 2 episodes. So,
Merlost, I disagree. I think the pre-season squares actually seeing how the game's played is a bonus for me.
Yeah, 100%.
It actually adds to my rating. So.
Yeah.
And General Grievous, remember for 26 months, the Reykjavik Lieutenant. If the Borg assimilated the planet of non-corporeal beings with physical bodies, would the Borg turn into non-corporeal Borg when they leave the planet? I'm not sure how that would work necessarily.
That is interesting, though, because are they not perfect beings, perfect energy in perfect bodies?
They're not perfect beings, but they're just pure energy.
I mean, is that not kind of perfect in a sense? Live forever? I don't know.
In the Fast and the Curious, Zero said, "We're not perfect."
But that's from the inside. That's grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
All right, Murray is now here, so I will let you start giving your thoughts about the next episode. I'll get you on a Wesley shot. You can give your initial spiel, which there should be, I'm guessing, quite a bit for this episode, and see what you guys think of this episode as well. So I'll see you in a mo.
All right. Guys, hit the like button. 39 of you here, 38 likes. Let's get those likes up to 50 if we can. I'd appreciate it. Now we're getting into the Devourer of Worlds, Part 1 and 2, of course, but we'll talk about Part 1 first. And this is the reintroduction of Wesley Crusher back into Star Trek. I mean, Picard Season 2 did it, but not very well. This is taking that character and actually making him good. I think this really amplifies Wesley's personality and story arc to be something way better than it could have been had it just been left as it was, because it was always shut up Wesley, the annoying kid, the one that left Starfleet, wasn't a good Starfleet officer, decided to fuck off on everybody. Now it is, in fact, he's got more to him. And this episode and the next one we talk about, Part 2, very much just feel like Doctor Who Star Trek, and I think it's great. I think Will Wheaton did a great job kind of having a manic kind of character. I did talk to Aaron Waltke after I watched this, and I said, way to make it Doctor Who, and he's like, we kind of figured if if you had the same events happen to you, you'd be a little wonky too. So I don't think he's erratic. Like, okay, compared to Wesley, he's erratic. But compared to other genres like this, like Doctor Who, I think it's very on point. So many things going on in his brain, so many ideas and dimensions and times and a whole bunch of stuff that he has shoved in there. Of course, he's kind of absent-minded and forgetful. I think it's great. So yes, this episode I think really elevates the show, and like I said, to actually give a final character arc to Wesley was great. So we'll see where it goes from here, but honestly, having him back was a nice surprise. And yeah, we got him back in season 2 of Picard with, "Hey Corey, come with me, be a traveler." Wish that was addressed in here, but it's fine, whatever. Plus, in that one, he walks in, he looks like he's just walked in off the street in his street clothes to film that scene. I love the look of the character in this one with the coat and everything. Very, like I said, because it had a very Doctor Who vibe, and that's pretty great. So, but yeah, we'll talk about the first episode when Sam gets back, and then go into the second episode, and then we'll know what our thoughts. But XVS Guru 2000 throws in €5. I think since the hive mind exists only through technology, the Borg being turned into energy beings would dissolve the collective. I kind of agree with you. Yeah. Hezra says, I like that they tried to redeem him. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it makes the character way more interesting. Going back and watching TNG now, knowing what happens, I think it definitely rounds out the character. So I am happy about that. Yes, 100%. Changing the travelers to be dogmatic protectors was gross. I'm happy the temporal wars they briefly mentioned drove them off from the prime timeline. Yeah, it does say a lot of them left because of the temporal wars. So I don't know if saying gross is the way I describe that, but I kind of like the deeper lore of it all now, tying the supervisors from like Gary 7 from Assignment Earth into the travelers and kind of as protectors of the timelines and the realities. I like that, actually. I think it's a pretty interesting take on it. So Star Trek Prodigy season 2 is set before Picard show. It is, Dan, but it's all time relative. Does time really matter to Wesley? He can see multiple timelines. He can see the future. He does point out that he's been alone for a while, and that's fine. And this could be the impetus for why he in fact does go recruit Corey to rebuild the travelers, if you will. That's an interesting idea. But yeah, I wish something would be said about that. As like, I know I won't be alone forever, but something like that would have been fine. Yeah. Harry was Academy champion 3 times at Parisi Squares and mentions getting hit with the ion mallet. Oh, there you go. I love how he says he has a lot of sweaters. Yeah. Anyway, hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's try to get those likes up to 50. I've said my piece. I don't know what else to tell you guys. We'll wait for Sam now. It is what it is. But yeah, if you have anything you guys want to chime in with, I'd really appreciate it. Wesby has become a madman going through time. Exactly. It's great. It really is great. Hold on one second here. Hold on one second, guys. But yeah, I don't don't know what else to say. I've said my piece about Wesley. I'm just waiting. I want to get into the episode, but I don't have the ability to scroll through the pictures for you guys, so we're going to have to wait till Sam gets back, unfortunately. Sam's girlfriend arrived, so that's more important than being on the live, I guess. So it's fine. It is what it is. And it's an AU, so we know the USS Kelvin was in fact a real ship. Alternate universe. Of course the Kelvin was a real ship. I love that they mentioned the Narada incursion, which is the Kelvin timeline, the mycelial plane. I'm supposed to know about that. It's classified. I love that they mention all those. And previously, in one of the first 5 episodes, they do mention that Worf, in fact, going between parallel dimensions. So that's, I love how it's all tied together. Can you put a poll on where Sam is? I mean, I could, but speaking of the poll, let's take a look at that, actually. Which episodes do you think which episodes do you think or did think were better overall? That needs a hyphen in there or a comma or something, because that's just incoherent, but that's okay. Episodes 6 through 10, Search for Wesley, is the winner with 75%. Episodes 1 through 5, Time Messing Up, gets 25%. So interesting. That's with 55 votes. So we'll close that. Ray Ricks throws in £5, so thank you so much, Ray. One thing that really annoyed me about Wesley is he ran off to become a space god, and actually this shows him being there to protect his universe. Yes, that annoyed me about Wesley as well. It's like, oh, fuck these guys. It doesn't matter. As he walks through a phaser beam, because everything's frozen, I'm going to do my own thing and just be one with the cosmos. But yeah, this shows that he's actually there working, protecting, helping, which is great. They did show a Crossfield class image in season 1. They did, but there's a Crossfield. There's the USS Crossfield. That one might not be classified. It's not necessarily built around the spore drive, so showing the Crossfield is not anything bad, or it's fine. So anyway, so yeah, that's not a problem, Dan.
So you liked it, is what you're saying?
I did.
That was my guest summary of your entire piece. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Did you like these ones better on the second and third viewing?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
I was super stoked when I first saw it, and then to actually listen to the dialogue, kind of understand a little more what's going on, get a little more richness and depth to it.
Yep.
And each time you're kind of actually learning more each time you watch it. So
yes, that's how I felt. As you recall, unusually we're on opposite ends of the spectrum a little bit. You loved it. I was not disappointed, but I wished for more. For me, I'd seen this guy in the France cut. He was on my 3 or 4 guesses, Wesley. I didn't know, right? Could have been several people. But then someone also said, oh, it's Wesley in your chat. And so once you hear it once, it's Wesley. You're like, okay, it's Wesley. Fine. So I did know who it was. And I skimmed and I looked very actiony in this episode. So I was excited. So for me, these two are underwhelming to what I thought it was going to be like. That was, of course, my first viewing had that preconception. The second viewing, I expected less. So I enjoyed them more. Which helped, right? Which is why if we hadn't been any spoilers, every reveal would have been a plus versus a slight detraction. I think they are still not as focused as they could be, as in the structure they're in plays no meaningful part in the story. I wish it did. The Traveller plays no part in the story even though he's in it. I wish he did. And Wesley is a little bit dumber than he should be given the situation. And there's too much running and too much firing phasers. So the things they don't do well are repeated problems, but they're smaller problems. But Wesley's great. The build's pretty good. The ending's really, really good, I think. And the threat value from the creatures plays really well. Probably too much. Really. But, yeah. And definitely compared to the last 3, these are standout. Like, these are much better. But They're having fun, right?
And Seti Hedron says Wesley's tricorder gave me Quantum Leap
Yes.
Ziggy vibes for some reason. Well, it's supposed to. It's not for some reason. It's shaped exactly like Ziggy. It's bigger and not as colorful, but it's just shaped exactly the same. Yeah, I noticed that too.
85,000% intentional must have been.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and it was glorious, right? Now I'm wondering, had they? Because the first thing he says, apart from Wesley, is that this is the first time I've met. I'm wondering. I said to our other video if they're gonna find a plot point where our characters meet Wesley first, and they know him, to then tell him to meet them there, and cause their own mini loop, because that would allow for some fun interplay. It's non-linear, he can be confused, but he's not exactly new to this, so you shouldn't be as confused if you're used to it, right? Now, second watch, I appreciated a bit more the context of hearing the dialogue with the travelers. They all left because this universe is screwed. Like, they think it's unfixable. This is a dead timeline. This is a bigger break than ever before. And it's played as if this is the one timeline where the reality that we know exists, which implies big things for other Trek timeline storylines. But I thought first watch, when they said all that stuff, it meant they left years ago, but they left because of this event. So as soon as we fix this event, everyone comes back and it's fine. So we're not undoing them as a concept. They haven't left because effort. They just left because the universe is screwed. They're in some other universe. It's fine. So I liked that better second watch, because travelers shouldn't be gone. Like, it shouldn't all be a problem.
It just says there's not a lot of us left. A lot of us here, they left because of the temporal wars, meaning that they could be in a different reality figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But they should come back after this, at least some of them, those that lived. Although no mention of the time cops, which would have been useful. Because the time war is not the time cops.
Yes.
But they can't address everything, otherwise they'd be there all day. And they do address a lot. It's a very exposition-heavy episode.
Yeah, so the kids find a bunch of asteroids around a strange attractor. They realize it is, in fact, something's there, so they pull the planet. They expose the planet.
And it's as easy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness, he's here to be deliberately, found. So he's not necessarily going to make it difficult.
It's not difficult for Voyager later when they show up. They're just like, yeah, we'll just do the exact same thing. We don't get the explanation of how they figured it out. It's just them doing it, which is great.
Yeah, pace-wise a bit of a problem, but so's cramming this much in.
Yeah. One life sign detected, and on their approach, it's like, is this built in the future or in the past? It feels like both. Interesting.
Which I don't know how that makes sense structurally.
I don't know either.
I wish they said one more thing about how, like, that rock is 4,000 years old. That rock is built tomorrow.
Well, I wish it looked like it did, but it had like neon lights in the lines, so it looks futuristic. Because it looks just ancient. Yeah, it just looks like an ancient building.
Yeah.
So
it's I don't know if they. I mean, they wrote the script way before they visualized it, so slight mismatches do happen. Although some part of me really wants to build this ziggurat in 3D and do a fan film on this planet, because I like this ziggurat for some reason, the way it's framed. And we've said this many a time, the way they clone objects to make it look like stuff. There's just a box. They're just cloned. I know it's the shot on the live, but it's like, just bag of detail, just clone the box, make it bigger. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the ziggurat design. It doesn't mean the thing, again, in the plot, but I like the basic design.
I did like seeing the Traveler.
It's great.
Like, the statues look great. They definitely look exactly like the character, so...
Although it's funny, even though I'd watched the episode, the second time knowing he's in it, I thought there'd be more parts with him in it. It doesn't make sense because I've already seen it. But like, they got the actor back from retirement. Like, that was a big deal, and he's only there as an absolutely on the wind voice. It's so faint.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the actor's going to be back in right at the end as a payoff, because you wouldn't hire him just for the most cameo of cameos. You'd think, alright? Like a scene with him, like Wesley and the Traveler at the end in a room would be the most satisfying thing in the world. To have closure after 30 years would be lovely, right? And they've already got the guy, so I'm assuming that's going to happen in episode 20, once timeline's been fixed, and he's like, well, Wesley, my protege, you helped save the galaxy. It wasn't me, friend, it was the kids. Well, you helped. Now let's go get Corey from the other timeline. That's exciting. Which is also a dead timeline. I guess the Moths 8, the Convergence, the Confederation timeline. Yeah, would it be taught?
That's a good point. Yeah. Anyway, so they find a vault door.
And I think you know what's coming when you see it.
Yeah.
Your brain goes to that. Mine did anyway.
And Jacob's like, let's open it. And it opens by itself.
And
Wesley Crusher.
Talk about an epic welcome back. The smoke coming in. Like, just they had fun with that shot. All you need is like neon lights going da 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 da. Welcome Wesley to the party. You know, it has that sort of vibe. And out he comes, trench coat and sweater, the most perfect combo known to Time Traveler. It's a good intro. It's a really good intro. You know, it's definitely a showreel kind of intro.
And back to Voyager. They found the transwarp corridor, and yeah, we get more information about the hollow duplicate and being able to isolate the ship's security feed before it went offline. Found this doozy. You hear the chattering of the creature. You hear the sound of it.
Not that careful, are they?
No. We're specifically targeting Gwen. I love how Noom is like, you know, you were all fooled, but I knew the whole time that they were holograms. That kind of annoys me, but that's the point, so it's fine. So yeah, they're being hunted by predators through time. They need to find the kids, essentially. But then we get an incoming message from Jellicoe, who's like, yo, I just checked. Last time I checked, your orders were returned to Earth. Why are you leaving Federation space? Some of my crew's gone missing, and I need to find them. Well, you're under strict orders to come back. And she goes, I have 3 rules when captaining a starship. Keep your shirt tucked in, go down with the ship, and never abandon one of your crew. I'm losing you. What? We're going through a transwarp corridor. Even though you can see, you can clearly see you're not, because there's a window behind you.
Wind behind you, can't see your suit.
Anyway,
I mean, this is just pure. This is a pure Trek scene.
Oh yeah,
like absolutely 100%. Like 2 Trek alumni, fully in character. And I love her desk monitor, the slim, perfectly advanced. I might have to nick that for a film because that's really nice. No, it's good. It's and I like her rationale. Like, we are going through it. Just I'm temporally dyslexic. We're going through it in about 12 seconds. It's fine. Like, you're not wrong. Just dyslexic. You know, about 5 seconds from now will be it. No,
that's great.
But again, it's so effortless they go through it. It's odd. And as you said earlier, how did they know where the kids have gone?
Because they get pulled out of the corridor at some point.
Yep.
And then they can't get back into the corridor without the gateway. Then I don't know. And we don't get the Voyager side of the investigation where they figure out where the kids are. So
they haven't got Chico's coordinates. They can't track them at transwarp. They don't know when they got pulled out. They can't track a warp signature and transwarp.
They did say last episode we haven't found any indications of the Infinity's warp trail. So I assume once they go to warp later, they can get a read on where they were. But that would require a lot of scanning.
That'd be an ultra long range, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the only thing I can think of, and that's fine. That's a good answer for me, I guess.
And if they can detect that ship's long like warp signature at like 10,000 light years. This ship is not stealthy at all. And why the hell are kids masking the warp trail? Or cloaked? Basically, there's a giant plot thing that you pointed out that... Because there isn't a straight line. If they just followed them, it'd be fine, but they can't just follow them. Nor do they have the coordinates. Or like, Gwen should have given the coordinates. Hollow Gwen.
Yeah,
that would be so easy. Although, then the information would be in the computer, and that's too dangerous to leave for them. But that's the solution, had they talked about it even once.
The Stanley says the Loom looks kind of like Squid Machine ships from the Matrix. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, they do.
Yep.
So, and the Infinity looks like the Nebuchadnezzar. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. They look good. No complaints. But we get a great Wesley scene. Talks to Murph. It's good. Everyone gets something to say. Some good energy. wants to fix Gwen's armband, but it's fine. It's fine. It's good enough.
Are you guys cold? It's drafty in here. I got a lot of sweaters. Do you need a sweater? That was great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I would never have thought to go sweater gag, but it's funny.
Yeah. And then he says that Murph swears a lot. This guy has such vulgar language.
It's funny. No, I liked
It's
it.
like R2-D2.
Yeah. No, I like this entire scene. The scene's a really strong opening. And Rock slowly knows who Wesley is and gives the accomplishments out of order, and Wesley's like, yeah, all that, but not in that order. Cause, I love how it's the accomplishment is knowing Nova Squad, not the Wesley Genius stuff, because that's the context of the Academy. Cause that's such a small part of Wesley's life, but in terms of a cadet.
Well, what would be in his file? That's what she would have read, right?
Well, she would have known via some Academy story, so it would have been. Yeah. D. Wesley
Crusher, member of Nova Squad, genius of the Enterprise D, made acting ensign at the age of 15. She would have looked into all that because they're young kids too. They would have looked at how to get into Starfleet. So yeah, I get it.
I just like it leads with Delta Squad of all the things. That makes me, because that's a cute perspective to start from.
Well, Nova Squad.
Nova Squad, yeah.
But yeah, I like his response. Well, I mean, not in that order, but yeah, that's me.
Go and see their special time portal room. He gives a full breakdown of his past, and we see the famous one TNG visual that makes no sense here, but I love seeing it.
The warp bubble.
Yeah, static warp shell.
Static warp shell. Yeah.
And I do appreciate, unlike Discovery, not to say it's that bad, but I like their version of this tech is so advanced. Here, moving on. Like I like that it was being handsome and just doing a thing with it. Like this was a good sort of advanced technology feel versus Discovery. Like this is a glowing, liquid thing. Like this, I thought was a funny way of doing it.
Yeah.
Didn't need explanation for me.
I love how he says, "Oh, you're all here too, all 6 of you. That's good. That's good. That's good." Mm-hmm. Which comes in important later, but yeah. And so you're like an interdimensional version of Starfleet. Yeah, kinda, but we do our own thing.
Yeah, and he says the travelers choose not to interfere, but this timeline is doomed. They think it's doomed, but I gotta be here and do stuff. Mum's here. I gotta be one to save it. We get into that later even more.
Yeah.
But I'm the last one to try and help.
Different quantum realities, different timelines. The prime universe we're in right now. Mirror universe, Narada incursion, fluidic space, the mycelial plane. Oh wait, you're not supposed to know about that one. Sorry guys, forget I said anything that doesn't exist.
Which I love it, because there's no reason for that to be classified, except the fact that Discovery says it's classified. So why is Wesley keeping up with 31st century alternate reality rules? I love it. It's such a, but that's yeah. It's funny.
I love how he compares everything to a sweater too. One tug of a timeline is like a thread, can unravel the sweater, but you can fix it. And then like the loom are like the moths that are attracted to the sweater to eat it.
Yeah,
it's really great.
The universe is one big sweater.
So the explanation for the loom as well, they devour everything from defunct timelines. And if they eat you, there's no evidence you ever existed. Yes. In that timeline, I would assume, to where it branches off. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, because you can't go further back, because then you're erasing information from the real timeline.
Yeah.
And it's sort of irrelevant if you kill it in the broken timeline, because everything's going to get destroyed anyway. Because they do say, and I do want to talk to Aaron about this, because they thought about this fully. I'm sure.
Oh, we need to have Aaron on to talk about this, yeah.
Just a debate. But they explicitly say that this is a specially broken situation because they had a ship with temporal shields inside a wormhole, which then caused a time anomaly, which then caused this because because there was shielding involved and a wormhole. This universe didn't get erased, didn't get split. It got forced to live in 2 states, which is unusual. Normally things just split, and it didn't. It forced. So therefore, it's a paradox. Therefore, the moths are saying, "F this, we're going to destroy it, erase it, and we'll just have no prime timeline. Like gone. There's no prime timeline. Like dead. Otherwise, otherwise you just move to a different universe. So it's a specific version. It's an unusual. Lots of things had to come together. And small
usually
things get killed first, like Gwen, and then more things are going to happen, which explains why Earth wasn't affected yet, but it will be in time.
And usually they repair the timelines, but after the temporal wars, there just aren't as many of us left to repair the timelines as there should be.
Yeah.
So
it is a specific version. It's a new tangent upon tangent. So
he is going to say, sadly, the travelers found the paradox created by the missing protostar too impossible to fix.
Yep.
But this is my universe, my home. My mom lives here. I'm not gonna let it fail.
Which also tells you that of all the paradoxes and all the versions of Trek we've seen, this one's the biggest ever. That the people who've been told to protect it say,
yeah,
we'll go to Prime Timeline 2.
We're going for lunch, Wes. You can handle this if you want, but we don't get paid enough for this shit.
Yeah.
SVS Guru 2000 throws in €2 and says, "So the Loom are the Langoliers?" Yeah,
what are
exactly
Langoliers?
It's from Stephen King. No. Yeah.
Yes. Now, what did you guys think of this as the plot thing? I'm interested what you guys. Yeah, but it works better the second time because you have to like listen more.
Yeah, there's a lot of dialogue in here that makes sense.
Yes.
When you wrap your brain around it, it's just first time listening. It sounds kind of incoherent, but it's not.
Although it's also odd that I guess if Dahl hadn't read Temporal Mechanics 101, then. But the fact that Jan comes like, alternate universes, that's crazy. But it's like you'd know that from 101. Many 101s, right? And they've all done the Academy for 6 months. They'd know that by now. And it was in Temporal Mechanics 101, the parallel universes, so they're just being dumb. But that's okay. That's for the audience.
He also states he finally, after all this looking, glimpsed one eventuality where the Prime Universe gets through all this without endless suffering. It's kind of like Doctor Strange.
Kind of.
There's one reality where we can pull this off.
It's a giant ripoff of that, and it feels it. The only issue with that for me is that is a space magic wizard who also does the events that makes it happen, and everything's intentional, right? The only thing he has to do is let himself lose the fight. Like there's a thing like let himself get killed is how he does it. In this, Wesley says, "I know there's a solution, but I can't see how to get to it." And also everything in the story happens that he doesn't mean to happen. So it doesn't work in the same way because he's not facilitating the solution. He just knows there's one way it'll work. But without knowing how to get there, it's sort of a null point and they're just doing it randomly. And it doesn't have the elegance of the Doctor Strange solution, which is I'm causing the one solution. You just don't know as the audience. Because how can you predict an infinite solution if the moths are doing stuff outside of your control? Because they've obviously buggered you straight away in terms of plan. So it doesn't really work from that perspective, but if you can create god moths, it's like, well, you can't fight them, you can't win against them, you can't stop them. Okay.
Well, one thing I really like this episode for is tying things together a little bit, because it's like, look, Wes, I really appreciate you trying to help us and all, but is there like a supervisor you could talk to? How do you know about the supervisors? You know what? Forget it. You don't know about the supervisors.
Or he commits to full exposition later, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and we don't have time for that anyway, yeah. And I love that they tie the travelers and the supervisors together because, yes, in Assignment Earth, it's just mentioned we were abducted from Earth, taken to a planet far away, and trained to do this. And this kind of ties it all together. I love that.
And they said it in Picard. Now we get to see it in Prodigy.
Yeah.
That's important because it's a giant thing to do, really, especially when there's ultra space things. Then we get the scene where they all stand on puzzle pieces, which, again, he's got a plan, but the plan stops what he does against the plan, and he's treating it as if they're failing. So instantly stuff's going wrong, which again removes the impetus about the one solution. So it pace-wise, tension-wise, kind of doesn't work. Because otherwise he'd be like... Otherwise you get a sense of his laughing internally about how, they're all moving off the plan I'm forcing them to think they're doing. Like, what is this? What is this that they're doing? It doesn't mean anything, right? Neither in the short term or the long term, stepping on pieces. It doesn't mean anything. I wish it meant more. There's a few bits of that in this episode, like, just doesn't mean anything.
But then time slows down. except for him and Gwen,
Mm-hmm.
because they're both temporarily out of sync
Mm-hmm.
because of their bands. But so anyway, then it turns into a Doctor Who episode of Run,
Yep.
which I like. I actually kind of enjoyed this.
It's definitely padding filler, and look, we have sets. And that's why I wish.
We get a lot of explanation during it, though. Look, they're called the Loom. They've frozen reality so they can feed. I love that.
Yeah, but we had that in the room, and it was equally as good. They need to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish the building meant more, because they're just set. It felt like Alien Resurrection. No, Alien vs Predator. Just like. So it's not good, but it's okay, right? And I do like the explanations. I do like the dialogue, just not the way they frame it. And he's Mr. Magic Man opening a box in the air. Yeah, I buy it.
Yeah.
I just wish they put the effort into not having them be Prodigy phaser rifles. Why the hell has he got Prodigy phaser rifles? Of all the phaser rifles in time and space, why the hell has he got Prodigy?
Those are the assets they have.
I know. But for goodness sake, build something better. I just don't like the rifle or like just use it for.
And there's also a model of the Enterprise E hanging up.
Yeah. And
he gets
Spock rocket boots.
Yeah, he gets the armbands, which are all the same size, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in a scene coming up next, he puts one on Rock, and it's huge.
And you know, the Blob, smaller. And I just realize it now, but it's probably deliberate. But if you look at the inside of this vault, they've got basically Doctor Who roundels. There's squares on the walls with circles that are lit. That could be a Doctor Who TARDIS interior.
Totally.
Yeah. That's just funny. That's got to be intentional. But then we get more mind. I mean, it's great for a new audience member. He's basically a magician, but not too powerful. It's a good balance of he does some basic trick stuff, but it can be easily defeated, right? Like I think it's a good introduction from.
Yeah, it's so Doctor Who though. Everything about this just reminded me of Doctor Who, and I thought it was very enjoyable. I liked it.
Although he hasn't normally got mental powers, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Although again, tricked by a hologram, but a mind hologram.
Yeah. Who has to pretend to be scared? I am scared.
So not the smartest things, but that's okay. This is why you really need two operatives. One to try and teleport you, so you have to run everywhere. Like you got teleporters and time teleporters. And then they meet the guys. It amused me that for some reason putting the armband on Zero made the
sand start moving.
Yeah. Why?
That's a good point. I think they're trying to illustrate the time it's just frozen. It's because the Loom are trying to feed.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't know. That takes her out of, or takes Zero out. I don't know.
Doesn't make sense. It's okay. And then Rock has a giant one, just like the size of his head. But as he says at the end, time, space, thought. He just thoughted it bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, right?
Although I gotta admit, the Loom are while they are Matrix inspired, they are quite interesting. I love that they change color. They are quite scary looking and intimidating. I think it's a good design.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of Chinese dragons, actually.
Mm.
That kind of look to them as well. So, and this is the scene from the trailer. Use your phasers. They don't seem to be phased, or they seem unfazed. Whereas in the trailer, it made it look like it was like shooting towards like the big triple things or whatever. So, kudos to them for that.
I still laughed at that line.
Yeah, they seem unfazed.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Why did the Loom always like meander around instead of just grabbing with the tentacles? It's like get in your face and scream at you, with the tentacles. When you want to feed, you just grab. I don't know. It's one of those things.
Look, they're used to winning the universe, okay?
It's true.
Because they can pause anybody. So the fact they're having to like play with their food is like confusing, so they don't know how to deal with it.
I like it. I like that explanation a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, only the time people they can pause, but most people don't, so it's fine.
But when they get on Voyager, it's like coming in, it's like just attack people.
Yeah,
and they do quite attack quite.
Because that was 2 days ago, and the universe wasn't quite as broken, so they could do it stealthily. But yeah, I like the design. It's a wonderful combination of generics, alien, but I get the logic behind the movement of it. Like I get it, so I like it. It's a good balance here. And yeah, I love the color shift. What?
Ozzy. So the Enterprise Z is Wesley's fault. Yeah, probably. That's why it's in that little vault. He's like, oh shit.
Goodness.
That's funny. That's really funny, Ozzy, actually.
Oh, Alan. Read Alan's comment. That's a good one.
They missed a gag where they're of putting on the Band of Rock's finger to show how much larger they are than everyone. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that would have been a fair logical gag, yeah. But anyway, they psychedelic into the. Is it actually the Silent Earth set? Like actually a replica?
Yep.
Okay. I assumed it was, but I haven't done a comparison yet.
Oh yeah, it's very much.
Did they have mini fridges in the 60s?
I thought the same thing. I'm sure they did. But when I saw it, I'm like, really? They have mini fridges?
I bet they didn't. They're just making a real fridge smaller, just for lols.
No, I think they probably did.
Or maybe really rich people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was kind of funny.
It was. Although the grapes, I mean, it's meant to be a randomness. Although he is a bit dumb to very explicitly say this is a safe place and it isn't. Again,
he thinks it is though. He thinks.
But he's fought these things before though. This is not new to him.
Yeah, but they're surprising him. That's
right.
The thing. He thinks they're safe.
But then how can he predict one future if the things he's fighting are totally better than the things again, how do you have tension when they're doing things that he's on a million universes. He's dealt with things for hundreds of years.
That's how you get tension. Him thinking he's safe and him not being, because they can actually. That's
and I don't believe him about the one universe. I think that's all bullshit, and it's just story.
Well, it's you can't see everything crystal clear. Is my thing. It's like.
No, I get it.
That's fine.
That's interesting.
It's fine.
It's just hard to get the tension when there's that level of disparity.
If you could just see the future and it'd be like, everything's gonna be fine, guys. We just have to sit here for 5 minutes. They're gonna come in. We run through that door. It's fine. It wouldn't be exciting.
Well, no, it's that he knows the outcome, not how to get there. So he knows what they can and can't do. So he can plan, but you have to do risky things. But he can't plan because they're doing things he doesn't know how to do. So the planning becomes null.
Yeah.
He needs to take some lessons in like advanced courses after this. But Voyager's here.
Voyager finds the planet, the
and
hidden
warps him,
subspace
not
pocket.
transwarps for some reason, or slipstreams. Yeah, planet. No problem.
18. Yeah.
And it's a good cliffhanger. Bit abrupt, but it's good.
It is.
Okay. Part 1. Okay, so Stuart, what do you think of part 1 in the abstract? And give us some scores. And you guys, this is the big 2. I want to hear your scores. Super chat your scores right now. You finished the poll ages ago. What was the results?
75% like these ones, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so the Devourer of All Things Part 1. I really enjoyed this one. I love seeing Wesley back and having a closure to that character. Not a closure, but like more layers added to that character. So now when you watch TNG, you kind of know that this isn't just a shut up Wesley, oh, I'm going to become a god and fuck off on everybody kind of character. he actually does something else and he's trying to protect people. I love that. A lot of good references here to the Narada incursion and the mycelial thing. I love that. I love that whole tie-in. I love getting more depth and layer to the supervisors from Assignment Earth and what we saw in Picard. Having that kind of layered as the people that fix the timeline and make things happen the way they're supposed to happen. Love it. I love it. Dialogue was good. Had very much of a Doctor Who vibe for me, and I really enjoyed that. And watching this multiple times makes it much, much better. These ones I think are way better on multiple viewings. So, yes, I absolutely love this one. Score-wise, like for enjoyment value, I'm going to give this one probably a 9.1. For Prodigy, it does what Prodigy does well, and that's introduce old characters and I love that we see Parisi squares and stuff for the first time in Prodigy as well. Like that's just cool. But anyway, Prodigy. Oof. 9.3. I think everybody's reactions to the situation is very good character wise, and yeah, I think it's great. So, how about you? What did you think about this one? And you said it got better on multiple viewings. So what about us discussing it now?
Yeah, it's always one of those things where the good bits are great, the lesser good bits are less good, but you forget about them because the good bits are great, right? It's not about the running to get kit. It's about the exposition. It's about the wow. It's about the loom attack. It's about certain things. They just threw in other bits to be actually for kids, right? The bits for us are excellent. The bits for them are okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as a part one, I think I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is better than the second part because of the info dump and how they frame Wesley being smart. I think I like that chunk better than part two. So I think that's gonna reflect in my score. Even though the ending is good in the last one, I think the setup's better here. But again, I expected a bit more going in. It's still not amazing. Rock still does nothing. Jankum does nothing. Why is Blob there? Forgotten the name.
Murph.
They're not doing anything, right? This is entirely bigger than them, and it's again main character syndrome. They're here because they're here, but there's too many characters, and they haven't got any lines for half of them, really. So they're just sort of there. Wesley's the star as he should be, but in this episode, but it's not, you know. Score-wise, is it the best of the season so far?
Yes.
Yes. But if it doesn't get better than this, then I'll be disappointed. Because this is nowhere near as good as the two Aaron Waltke from season 1. Those are much better than this.
Well, the next episode, part 2, is written by Aaron Waltke, by the way. Just so you know.
Cool. But those two are better because they're better.
And we're only halfway through the season. I'm sure there's going to be better.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, there's going to have to be because they've finally explained the storyline, right? The first 10 was set up. This is now going into the story. I think gut reaction. I'm going to say for this season, 8.5. We're not at the 9s yet because I'm given lots of place to go because, yeah. All Prodigy. 8.3. I think there's loads of better episodes. Like loads, but loads of worse ones, right? Yeah. I really want a 9. I really want a 9 next half. I really want to get the 9s for me. Hopefully.
Okay. Well, this one did it for me because I enjoyed this one a lot. All right, so now on to part 2. This one is, as I just said, written by Aaron Waltke.
The conclusion.
Yes.
Great first shot.
Yeah.
Super
I also love that they don't go last time on Star Trek Prodigy. Who fucking stopped that? We don't need that.
Although you say that, had it been Wesley giving his version of last time on, explaining his version of events, including new clips.
I agree, but I'm talking about fucking Discovery. Every episode. Last time on Discovery.
And it's like 3 minutes sometimes.
Nobody, 3 minutes of fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that one time, but it was like a 60-minute episode. 3 minutes of titles, 3 of credits, 2 of title sequence, 9 minutes of not screen time. It's like, yeah. But how great a Wesley preamble with him, like his perspective.
That'd be fucking awesome.
With new clips.
Oh, a recap with them would be awesome.
Yeah. And it would have given a free pass to explain stuff as well. But anyway,
yeah, good intro with the loom and then fade to a lava lamp.
Really gentle start. Kind of odd because of the last part, but he thinks he's safe.
He thinks he's safe, exactly.
And he can time travel. So...
Talking about Miles Davis, taking your mind off impending doom. It's cool. And then, a second ago we were in a crazy temple. Now we're in somebody's living room. First off, it's groovy. Secondly, it's an old facility the travelers use to train our field agents, the supervisors, who work in other time periods. I would say that this one is mimicking, definitely Earth, 1968. Haha, Apollo 7 launches. I love how the back of the newspaper has nothing on it, though. It's supposed to be a newspaper.
It's not? Is it not?
No, it looks like Just
Oh yeah.
pages. So that bothers me a little bit. I wish there was something on the back of the newspaper, but anyway.
Oh, that's so simple. Just make a thing in Photoshop. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And also, said adherent says it's all 9s to 10s from here on. I expect several 9s. I know it's high expectation, but they've now got in their stride, so I expect some 9s.
SETI Hedron, yeah.
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 I have lots of faith in them. They've now set the
I've seen a few more episodes past this, so yeah.
Because season 1, right? Like the first 5 was like Star Wars, like it got into the stride, right? So, you know, but like I say, bit of a slow start, unnecessarily slow, and also my big problem with this episode is these kids do jack shit the whole episode. They're entirely unmotivated, and they're just sitting, standing, talking, sitting, standing. They're entire observers in the situation, and it's odd, and it doesn't pace well for them. But what can they do, right?
That's fine though. He should be the star of this. Mm-hmm. He should be explaining things. They are technically fucking lost. I would be too. I'd be like, what? What? So I like it.
It's just weird to have your entire cast sat down in chairs the whole episode.
I have no problem with it. He does go on to say here, listen, after the other travelers fled our universe, nobody uses this hidden part of the ziggurat anymore. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and the temple's designed to keep those things out. Really? Because from what I just saw, it's not.
Yep.
So,
which is funny because they built these walls, like, so in a minute they'll try and get in through the vault door, which they physically can't phase through. They have to bash in. Why isn't the ziggurat made of the stuff that the vault door's made of? They can't phase through it. Just saying, make everything made out of non-phasable material. You've got that tech, just use that. Just saying, make this out of that stuff. They phase through the wall fine.
Yeah. So the plan here is to wait it out till they leave, and then he can go back up and finish the rest of his calculations.
Why would they ever leave, Stuart? They're non-temporal beings. They just go forward in time when they don't, when you leave.
Yeah.
Can't really fight non-temporal with non-temporal. Now, why on earth are they in a shuttle bay and then beamed down with a 3-person landing party? I was expecting from this shot a really epic, like, multi-shuttle go down, 50-people landing party. Why the hell are we here and then go there? So really bad, like, it's like you see the gun, they don't use it. You're seeing this giant scene, and there's the most pathetic landing party ever. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. There should be a couple more people, because we know he's going to die, clearly, but...
yeah, this is, again, I just cut all this stuff. This entire sequence I'd cut and do better stuff with this. It's not a good set of sequences. And Janeway's much smarter on this, right? Janeway's a absolute legend. She's not dealing with this in a very intelligent way.
I do like that Majel speaks up and says, you know what, it makes sense for me to go down because I have a telepathic link to Zero. So finding them could be difficult, but if I can send Zero, I like that. Yes. And Janeway's like, well, I don't know. I appreciate your concerns about it, but it's a dangerous mission.
Yeah.
And Andorian dude Tysus stands up for her. I love this. I will protect her with my life. I vow on the blood of my ancestors at the Wall of Heroes by Grapthar's hammer. I shall avenge her.
I shall avenge that guy that you don't remember who died, but totally died. Trust me.
Yeah.
No, it's a good dialogue, but why is it here? It should be in the transporter room or some such. It just doesn't. Especially as later on, there's only one shuttle in the bay. Because it's. I don't know.
That's an interesting point. Why it's in this room? Yeah, I never thought about that.
Because I got really excited because this is like Janeway has dealt with time travel. They know there's these creatures. It implies a bigger thing than 3 people. And Stuart, they don't even have the armbands on when they go down. Where the hell's that? These things are stop time. You're not having a like that.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
They have them on as in they're wearing them, but they don't have them activated. Yeah, that was my biggest fucking thing.
Makes no. This entire.
You got to count on them noticing that time is slowing and try to get. No, just leave them on.
And isn't it useful that those creatures don't slow down time in iterative bits, not instantly, right? It's useful that.
It is.
Yeah.
Time's a powerful thing, though. It could be hard to just instantly stop it.
Yeah, I just don't understand this, any of it. None of this bit's good, structurally or whatever. It's just entirely it's just unnecessary. Like the bit attacking the ship's pretty good, but none of this is good. So I hope it's all a nope, and then running. I just cut all this stuff out personally. Janeway's so smart. This is so dumb, right?
Yeah, but poor Middleton gets killed.
Who?
What? Who? What?
We said somewhat.
I didn't say anybody got killed. What?
Oh, you said went to ice cream. Sorry.
Something like that.
Now, you had a problem with the transporter bit, but yes. He does say lock onto their comm badge, not lock onto the life signs.
Who says that?
Tysus. He says lock onto our comm badge and beam. Which actually I thought was a nice way around that.
Yeah.
That would explain that absolutely fine. Which
but
I thought
that's
quite
still
clever.
Not technically how that works, because the transport had started.
Oh yeah, she can't take it off, but I mean...
But she does. As the transport's starting, she takes it off and throws it.
But I mean...
She would still beam.
But I mean, it's beaming this. That makes more sense. Not beaming her life signs, beaming the badge. And I have a conceit that I always do Trek beaming and freezes people, even though we've done the episode on it, there's only a thing in TOS. I like that as a concept. I like freezing and then beaming. So she can, in theory, move for those seconds, but... Yeah.
Well, the freezing and the beaming is only TOS.
That's what I mean.
Because you needed a static field around them so they wouldn't move and scatter their... But they fixed that. And that's a big deal in Star Trek 2, where they're talking while they're transporting. That's never been a thing before. So that's why it was a big deal.
But I was saying,
Trust me.
I like keeping that I like that effect of them freezing. So I've always done that just because I like the effect.
It would make sense. It would be a lot safer, for sure. But yeah, she whips off the comm badge and doesn't beam back up, and it's like, that's not how that works. But anyway.
Why is the doctor operating the transporter room?
Because they don't have anybody on the ship.
God damn it.
Because we paid Robert Picard, oh damn it, we're gonna fucking use him in every scene. And there's a transporter person there, by the way.
but Bob's the one pressing the buttons. And why is the room so big? And why is the console 9 people wide? For fuck's sake, make smaller sets for God's sake.
Yeah, it's a ridiculously oversized transporter room. If it's a cargo bay room or cargo transporter, that'd be fine.
Imagine to build this practically. You'd be wasting like a mini warehouse. Goodness.
Anyway, back to Majel. She finds the door.
Well, no, he says they're dead, and I like the little tet for tet. No, he's not.
Who's dead? There's no Middleton. Yeah. I don't have records for Middleton.
At least they address it, right? At least they give us a half second of consequence.
Yeah.
And then move on.
Majel finds the room with everything deactivated. Senses 0.
Mm-hmm. I love how locked these doors are.
Yeah.
You know, there's no auto lock feature to unknown people.
SES Guru 2000, €2. Emergency transporter chief hologram.
Yeah.
Perhaps Voyager is very undermanned. Yeah, but they never said that. They didn't say they're launching with the skeleton crew. They just said this is a Lamar class science specialist vessel, a crew of 800, 2 schools,
and considering families. If you look at the MSD, they have a giant star cartography, giant shuttle bays, giant holodeck, and giant whale room. A lot of space is physically not usable. A lot. So the 800 people has to fit into a lot less space than the size of the ship would determine. So it's actually a lot smaller internally than you think. But yeah, that would have been a great line. They would have solved all their problems that I've been having in the season. All of them. Even the time stuff. Skeleton crew. Fix everything.
Because this is a specialist mission, we have a very specific specialist crew on board. It's not a full... We're not fully staffed. That's all they needed to say. Yeah. Anyway. So Majel, the Loom are trying to get in. She bars the door, and she's like, I'm in danger. Please help me. To which the phone rings, and he's like, it's for you. For Zero. I thought that was kind of funny. That made me laugh.
Yeah, that was.
And even the way Zero holds the phone, it's like, I don't know. Yes, hello.
I think it's fair to say they jumped the shark a bit on their relationship, given they only had about 4 scenes together ever. But I did like the acting, so skipping the fact that.
But you know it's a relationship from minute 1 with the way the reactions to each other. Like, ooh, I really like you kind of vibe.
Well, that was from minute 2 after the initial scene, but yeah, once they're on the ship.
They lay it on pretty thick, so they're
Yes.
implying it.
But I mean, I like the acting. I just wish I had more scenes of them developing, because I like the acting. I buy it. It's just that's very, very, very full on. Of course, gonna get killed by time wraiths, but that's neither here nor there.
Now the next scene annoys the shit out of me because it's like, well, this isn't supposed to happen.
Another thing, can I just point out that he doesn't know?
Yes. Open the door, Wesley. Or Crusher. Let's let her in. It's like, I can't do that. The second we do that, we expose our position, and it'll lead them right to us. And I love Jankum's response to that as well. It's like, and pretend we didn't just hear her last words. No, but I need time to think.
You haven't got time to think about time.
Don't have the time. And then he says, I'm so sorry, I can't risk it. And he goes to close the thing, and Dow's like, no, I'm just going to push every button with one hand on this panel, because that can't be bad. Unknown technology to you. That could have, like, destroyed an entire timeline. Who knows?
And it's funny, the first time watching it, you're like, oh, is that really the 60s tech? It is! And I'm so glad I can freeze frame, because it looks lovely.
Yeah.
Well, they're never quite given the beauty shots it deserved. It's not that important, right? But
it's kind of underplayed, like, yeah.
Which I think probably is a good thing. But I didn't catch the first time that it is closing when he presses a big start. Yeah, he just slams his hand on. Yeah, he just slams down on 3 buttons. So I think from the previous episode of Some Earth, like, it turns off as it goes back in the wall. Like, it turns on once it's out, and that's the context here as well. Like, goodbye. So to turn on something it's a small note, but then how's it?
Yeah.
And also specifically, he knows how it has to open a specific thing, a specific place, specific time, specific savior, and close quickly to not be killed. And then go in her. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. It opens a portal. She falls through as the loom is like right above her. It would be following her right through, and maybe get cut in half if it. Closes.
That's what I was expecting. Tentacles come out and be stabbed. That would have been great, and that would have explained how they could track them. Because loom tentacles made it through.
That would be great.
That would be a much smarter version, actually.
Aaron, just kidding.
Oh.
SPS Guru 2005 euros. So from later on in the season.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's not smart.
Okay, but Joe was part of the plan all along, so it makes no sense that he was willing to let her die. Yeah, but he doesn't know that yet.
Yeah.
And it takes him a minute to figure that out at the end, because he's like, what did I do wrong? Why is this not working? So
they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. He knows the one solution, but nothing about it.
Yeah.
But that said, how she might factor into the end could be she's just there. Because it's not just her doing things, it's how Zero reacts because she's there. He'll be more confident because she's there. You know what I mean? It's not.
Zero might have to do something to, like, save her or something, like.
Yeah, and therefore lose the body and get new. Like, it's events that are bringing you in. It's not necessarily what they do. It's them being there.
I do love Dow's reaction to Majel being there, though. It's like, here by yourself, no Starfleet in sight. Seems like a rash decision. To which she turns it and says, or a rational one, given I found you. But yeah.
I mean, true. Call her out. She did a very illogical thing.
And then we get some kind of reveal of something, maybe. Hey, even the greatest captain got a... And he's like, actually... never mind, you'll find out.
Mm-hmm. But also, like the Mistral Network, it could be a season 3 or 4 thing. There's no... It's just a thing, right?
Yeah.
It could be nothing. And then they're screwed.
Oh, wow, I think they're gone. To which he almost gets hit by a tentacle.
Yes. And that's pretty impressive. They got through. They found it and got through. A safe house, specifically designed. I love the button, by the way.
I do too. And how many secret passages does this place have? It's a transdimensional time ziggurat. So there's a lot, okay? Yeah. That was great.
It's a very good line.
The same kind of effect from the 60s, which is cool. And then boom, they're back outside now of the temple.
I don't know why they never do time travel in this scene. I don't know why you can't, like, move them back or forward. I guess you lose Voyager, but
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then apparently they can not only erase people from existence, but also objects, because
yes,
the infinity gets zapped out of existence, which makes me confused about Voyager later. Especially, there's a specific line that Tyson
Yes.
says later. Half of engineering is gone. Does that mean physically gone, or does that mean just the crew, the personnel are gone? The one person that they'd have to kill to have half of the engineering crew gone. I don't know.
yeah, that came across because the first time you're thinking, oh no, Voyager could be screwed, and then it's like, oh, it's fine at the end.
Yeah,
and it's gonna obviously be doing stuff next episode. Like, I'm sure the engineering's not destroyed. Yeah,
Yeah.
they mean people, but also that's okay. You got 800 people. That's like 10 people. It does any way you say it without meaning the physical space. It's not as impressive as he thinks it sounds. But they're saying stuff right. It's just not, you know. Yeah, I was really surprised about the destroying the ship. That genuinely blew me away because, again, one of you in the chat said you're gonna love it more and more.
Yeah.
Oh, it dies. Okay, but it makes sense. It's a time anomaly. This thing caused the time breach in essence, and it's, you know, this makes sense to kill. It's a time thingy. But yeah, this changes the ballgame. They can destroy matter as well. They're really dangerous. But in theory, they're eating everything in the timeline. They are. So, like, everything. Yeah. So, makes sense.
But Wesley's out of ideas. But fortunately, Voyager shows up.
Yep.
Stay away from my crew. And then a phaser fires from the very tip of the...
Several very tips of the...
Well, yeah, it changes. It'll change in a
Yep.
second. Hold on, we're getting there.
But you can see the aero shuttle, which I like.
Then you got 2 points, which actually could look like they could be coming from phaser rings or phaser. The tip one doesn't, though.
And you
it goes
wouldn't
back
do
to the
2
tip right away.
phases necessarily that close to the edge of a... They're great views of the Voyager, though, if you want clean, beautiful shots. But yeah, they don't really... My issue with this, again, is if you've seen the episode, this means absolutely jack shit. They're not causing any damage, they can't cause any damage, and the creature's just biding time. Because there's no threat. And also, by doing this, she gets half her crew killed, right? This doesn't mean nothing. Really. There's no science here. There's no just, you know, shoot.
Also, it opens up a question. Does Voyager A have a window for a view screen?
No. Aaron said no.
Thank God. But it looks like it, because it looks like it's crawling up the hull to the window, and it comes right through the window.
Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, when I saw this early, that's the email I sent to Aaron.
Believe it or not, of course I believe that. Jesus.
Because I happened to be on the frame, right? And I was like, Aaron, you didn't put windows. Like, no, it's not a window. Is that okay? I believe it looks like a window.
Yeah,
but
this will bring up the argument that it's a fucking window for sure. A lot of people will say it's a window, despite what Aaron says.
Yeah, but he says it's not, so I'm happy to take it. But again, oh, did you notice there's one shot here that's weird? I think they did a different renderer. So, right after the thing fires loads, and there's a shot of Janeway walking up to the view screen, it's like a shaky cam shot. The rendering's different, the effects are different. It's like one shot with like a different look entirely. It's so weird. Like it just looks different.
And the same black lady that was...
Yeah, she dies later, then comes back, I think. Pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. So does the... Oh.
No, the Vulcan's different uniform colour, so it's a different Vulcan. I did look at that.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. No. It's fine.
My issue here is that, again, they spend time saying, maximum shields, it goes to shields. 5 phases, does nothing. Do this, does nothing. Like, at a certain point, I don't need to see 7 of those, because it just walks through shields. There's nothing... You lose, right? Instant lose. And yet Joanne pulls out a phaser and fires. Like, I don't need to see that. It doesn't add anything.
Yeah.
And she doesn't seem that smart.
Well, here's the thing, because the next scene is what we were talking about earlier. Tysus is running down the hull. Hull breaches on decks 4, 5, and 12. Hull breaches indicate that the ship is actually being damaged.
That would only be that one thing, yeah, 100%.
And then the next line is half of engineering is missing, which sounds to me like it's literally removed from time, which means there'd be holes in the ship.
Which, in fairness, if you want to stop Voyager, eat the engine room. Done.
Yeah. But the next line from him again is, we need more discriminators, implying that it's people that are missing now. What about the hull breaches, though? what kind of damage are they causing to the ship to cause hull breaches? So I don't know. It's just confusing.
And also, don't you love that sometimes they go through walls, sometimes they go through through the corridors? Like,
yes,
they're just having fun. I just don't need to see phaser fire. It does nothing. It annoys
at least
me.
it's sustained phaser fire, not pew pew pews.
True. But then you have another great doctor line.
I like that they know what they're doing. Yeah,
another great
doctor, not an assembly line.
And it's I mean, this could have been honestly the moment where they said we lost like most of the crew, because I only had like 9, because you only went to send 6 down. I built 9 because I'm great. Because there's massacres happening, right? This is horrible. But I don't know how many built. They don't give any number. I'm guessing at least 100 or something. But like it's not implied he made them for the entire crew. So loads of people are dead, surely, right?
Yeah, well, he said I was only going to make them for the away teams. I'm not an assembly line. And he tries to throw up a level 10 force field that walks right through it. I love that. I thought that it might pause for a second and like and then go through, but it just strolls on through.
Yeah, I love it because it's his choice, but I don't like it as it wastes time. We've seen this be effective 3 times, but I love that he's thinking that and he's trying.
And then it just knocks off his mobile emitter, which takes him to a holodeck.
And why does it hit his mobile emitter? Because it hits it. It doesn't like hit him. It hits it.
Yeah, it knocks it off.
And the irony is, that's a temporarily displaced bit of tech.
That's what I was exactly going to say.
So really, it should have destroyed it, and that would have been a really nice payoff. Because we know this universe is being erased, right? This is a non-universe. These people aren't dead. Everyone's coming back, right? Like, once it's reset, it's fine. That would have been a hell of a moment to kill it. And he's like, oh no. He's on the computer, of course, but like, that would have been a really good moment. Because it's a temporarily broken thing.
It's just weird, though, because he gets knocked off, he goes right to a holodeck. Earlier, when he was in sickbay, giving somebody a treatment for their eye, and they deactivated, or they switched over the holodecks for their doubles, he phased out, which implies that he was using the holographic projectors in sickbay.
It tells you. Doesn't imply. It tells you.
Oh, yeah, well, exactly. That they were using the holographic... So why was he, first of all, wearing his armband? I mean, I get you'd probably want it on all the time, but that wasn't... I don't know. It's fine. It's fine.
This is just here because if he was still there, then you assume the loom killed him and you go and kill the doctor. So we have to see him move somewhere else, safety, so that he's not dead. That's why it's there. Irrespective of making sense, it doesn't. It's fine.
SPS Guru 2,000, 10 euros. Did anyone really die, or did they never exist to begin with? Dun dun dun.
No, exactly, yeah. But that's the thing. Everyone who has the bands knows they died. So there is actually both. And there might be a great line later saying where Janeway goes to an engineering officer and says, right, situation, well, our 85 staff did this. You mean 140? Oh, were there that many? Yes. Shit. You could have something with that, right? That'd be really meaningful. You know, your best... Yeah. How's Donald, your best friend? Who? Oh. If he was more of an adult show, you could play that in a really dark way. Like you said, like the dark humour of the Static Warp Shell. It's funny that Picard thinks he's the only one alive to pilot the ship, but it's really freaking dark. But it's funny, but it's dark. It's a really, really well-placed thing. Yeah.
And then we get the shuttle bay, Noom, and then the shuttle. Want my ship?
And how do you feel about him being literally a coward? Because it's a bold play to have him be... It's a bold thing to do.
Just making him an idiot this season, because it's like, I knew that they were holograms the whole time, and then now this, it's just...
Yeah. And it's funny because he does then protect them. He's both a coward and protects them.
In season 1, I thought he was the CMO. I thought he was the chief medical officer. It turns out, no, he's just a therapist. He's just a counselor.
Yeah. Who really has no part in the story except to be funny to Jankum.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting choice to put that there. And yeah, Janeway is in a different shuttle bay because it's not the 2 shuttle bay. And then I really wish they made a bigger thing of this. She says, remodulate the phasers to your whatever variants. And they phaser it, and it makes a noise, but nothing else happens. I wish, like, they cut off on the legs to symbolize it works. That would have changed everything about firing. Like, that would have changed the game. But it doesn't do that, which makes me think she's dumb again, because it doesn't do anything except I guess, get them off the ship, but like doesn't do anything, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely, yeah.
Because you could argue only big phases are powerful enough. That's fine, right? Hand phases can't do this. What?
Sorry, I just there's a shot in the shuttle bay where you see through the window and she's so small, but then when she dives, and just as she pulls up, you actually see how small she is inside the shuttle. Right before she pulls up at the bottom of her dive.
Uh-huh. In one of the screen caps that you...
No, it's one that I got for me, but you should have one of the exact same ones.
Oh, yeah, I think that's similar. That's a really big shuttle.
It's just huge, and it's ridiculous.
But it makes sense as quantums.
Quantum torpedoes, full spread, yeah. And they just come out of a big box at the back. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. Also,
things like runabouts, things like the Delta Flyer, they have micro photon torpedoes. Watch a Trekyards episode, learn something. So, are these now considered quantum, like micro quantum torpedoes? Is that even possible? Maybe. Quantums are a big deal, right? They're on certain ships, not all ships, for a reason. So how is it that a shuttle has... Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Nobody cares. Aaron, dude, I love you, bro. We need to talk.
Yeah, as I said in our review, it would have been nice if via micro quantums, it would have been such a lovely in-law thing, but it's such an effort to say micro quantums, and the computer will understand just saying quantums. But giant... This is the most powerful shuttle ever. Literally, to have quantums. Aft quantums as well.
But the kids watching this don't know the difference.
But it means there's also forward quantums, which means there's 2 different quantum launchers on a goddamn shuttle. That's a lot of quantums. One quantum can lay out half a ship, right? They're giant.
Yeah.
And the irony being, of course, that the moment is an absolute waste of a moment. She fires them, they explode on it, does nothing except to bash her shuttle a bit backwards. It's such a pointless moment that I thought in my skim it was going to be a great moment. It's such a poor moment, and then she just crashes into the thing. And she says full shields. The shields work. The scene makes no sense.
Shields. Yeah.
It doesn't.
The Stanleys. Is that the shuttle from Star Trek Insurrection on the Picard and Worf to get data back? No, absolutely not.
But they do make the reference to it going down, and
yes,
which is great. No, it's a really illogical scene, and she's not a smart character for doing it. I'm sorry.
How is it, too? She says all power to shields. The thing attaches to the front of the shuttle and doesn't start coming through. Nope. But it could just waltz through Voyager's shields right into the bridge.
Yeah. It doesn't... It's because they want an epic scene. Now, if she'd said... alternate shield pattern to match their modulation. But then if you can do that now, the bloody time people can make their ziggurat reverse shield harmonics.
Yeah.
It would be that easy, right? So it's just them not trying. It doesn't make sense.
One thing I just noticed, which I've watched it 3 times, I don't know why I didn't notice this. When the shuttle crashes, she's crushed one of them.
Shit, yeah.
I didn't think they could die, but apparently they can. So there is a dead one there.
Oh my god, from a shuttle crash.
You didn't notice it either?
From being hit. Blunt force trauma. So quantums don't hurt it. 3 quantums point blank, but being crushed. Oh my god, that's actually radical. Wow. So they trip by holograms and you can hit them to death. That's what that is. Oh wow, yeah.
Ozzy, $2. Janeway did Tom Paris maneuver. Sure she did, yeah.
You mean the Worf Picard maneuver for Insurrection?
Yes. Yeah.
And that would go for Picard to taught her that one. That'd have been a funny line.
Yes. I love how Shasta says that used to be a lot easier, implying that she's old now.
Even though the shuttle.
Because I just watched Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, and when they're talking to Bill Murray behind the scenes about it, it's like, yeah, I did the first one when I was 23. This is 40 years later, and those action scenes are not as easy as they used to be. Yeah, he's 63 now.
Right. Boy, if they dye their hair, he doesn't look 60, does he? Wow.
It's a very great movie, by the way. Definitely brings back Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 vibes. And they even make a joke about Beverly Hills Cop 3 not being his finest hour. So
it's shocking. Just make a good film based on the first vibe and you'll win. Shocking. Crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, so that this
Sorry.
so Janeway gets here. Back to no, this is a good scene, right? The weird shit stuff happened. This is now back to the core stuff. Cause a lot of weird shit.
Yes. So talking about modified Borath crystals near the orb of time. So I guess he's got the Bajoran orb of time.
It's such an absolutely throwaway, beautiful comment. Beautiful. Yeah. Love it.
Anyway, I'm hidden among billions of possible futures. The 6 of you are going to make a difference, essentially.
Although, what is a Borath crystal, for those who don't know? Because it is a very specific reference that actually I really loved.
That is from the Klingon moon Borath, where if you go and get a crystal, you can, but you get to see your ultimate fate, which might not always be a good thing, I guess. So, yeah. That's what they're referring to.
It's the most OP 2-time things probably in Trek. Oh, the Guardian Forever, but that'd be ridiculous to have. Well, that would be a piece of coal.
Carl! You should have mentioned Carl. I haven't spoken to Carl in a long time.
Hey, that might still come, because that'd be a great end. Can you imagine just beaming to Carl and the his friend who was the voice earlier? Traveler and him just standing next to Carl like, we did good, didn't we? Yes, we did good. Could be really funny.
And you see Giorgio in the background peeking behind a column.
Yes.
Anyway.
But he has to do time math based on all their bodies being there.
Don't look into the time stream though, you might see your future. To which Dal looks.
You should put a filter on that, just like we've worked out tech that allows for screens on planes not to be viewable when you're this far, but you can't work out screen for time windows.
But Dal sees a moment of him talking to Gwen, and he says, "I made a mistake, Gwen. The chair never belonged to me." Little does he know it's from when they bought their first house, and he thought it was his. Yeah. Thought it was his chair, but it was actually his mom's. So.
And by mom, you mean obviously the Ferengi guy, girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I thought it was my chair. It's not. That's why they took it away. I'm sorry they repossessed the chair, but it was.
But because he knew that was going to happen, he said it in a very serious way in the future to help make young him think it was serious. But really,
exactly.
Now, personally, I've never necessarily thought of Dahl as the captain kind of guy. That's never really tracked with me. He's too stupid. He can maybe learn.
He's brave though. He's brave. He's impulsive. He does things. Stupid's a good word.
But the captain's not really like I never quite thought. He's the guy that took the reins versus earned the reins. Gwen was actually a leader a leader of a slave camp, fine, but she was actually a leader on Tars Lamora. There's always more of a thing. So that felt. She was also older and smarter than him in general. Anyway. It's a fine foreshadow. It makes sense that she should be more in charge. That always made sense.
Yeah. Anyway, he can't find the possible future. He's like, why can't I find it?
Because shit keeps breaking. You were wrong about everything today.
Yeah. And then she says, Magel's kind of comforting Zero and says, together we can become greater than the sum of both of us. Let my strength become yours. And that clues him in. He's like, that's it.
Yoink.
Yeah, I'm testing a theory. 7. You had to be here too. 7 of you. Haha, of course.
Yeah. And it's a nice moment. I think it's sort of like, well, yeah, those are the main cast members. It's not a stretch, but it's satisfying, I think.
Yeah, I just love that we got a new Vulcan edition, just like T'Lyn from Lower Decks. Mm-hmm. It's just like...
Which is good. She's non-emotional in an emotional way.
So he creates a portal to who knows where, but oh no, the Loom are here. The door's opening. No, it's just Janeway.
Lock the damn door, Wesley. Learn. It's so easy to get into a time portal room.
He's very absent-minded.
There's literally creatures that want to kill you from existence, and you're not locking a door.
And then it's like, hey, you're Wesley Crusher. Like, Captain Janeway or Admiral Janeway, I predicted you might show up. Did you? Did you really?
That's such a weird line. In the context of everything that's happened. And also, you knew she was in orbit.
Yes, that's true.
So you thought she might be brave to come down herself. Fair.
Yeah.
It's not.
SVS Guru 2005 euros. He's impulsive and doesn't like to read. He likes the idea of commanding his own ship, but doesn't understand the responsibilities attached to the role. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's what the first episode showed. He's not a good candidate for Starfleet Command. That's fine. Not everyone's a book smart guy. He could be great at other stuff, right? That's fine.
Yeah. So you're the ghost I've been hearing about. I prefer the term omnitemporal traveler. Omnitemporal traveler. Yeah. Anyway, Janeway wants to get them all out, and he's like, look, respectively, this is the only way to save their future and ours.
Probably.
For them to enter the gate, yeah.
Now, why... No, obviously, why doesn't she go with them? But because she can't, because she's not part of the plan. I would have thought send her too. She's got more experience than all of them combined, just saying.
Yeah. Anyhow. But she says go. I'm trusting you guys to do the right thing and to fix this.
I love how she auto goes into Admiral stance whenever she's not doing anything direct.
Yeah.
She's so admirally. It's great. Yeah, very trusting.
And then she's like, I'm going to cover the door. They're coming in. He's like, sorry, goodbye. Good luck and goodbye. And wishes her through the floor. To which she shows up in her Admiral's uniform on the bridge.
Yes, I love how she thinks this phaser rifle will totally stop them in any way. That's what I mean about stupid plot points. Like, that's not something she would do or say. It's dumb.
So we're back on... Yeah.
Yeah, but I love she's in a different uniform. That's a great little visual gag.
Yeah.
Makes me just...
So we're back on the bridge. We got the Vulcan guy back, but in a different colored uniform. We got the black girl back, but in a different colored uniform. We got the green girl back.
I don't think she died.
I don't think she did either, but it doesn't matter. She keeps changing uniforms. She's on the shuttle. She's on the ship. Yeah. Well, this one doesn't have trill spots, so it's a different one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's one from the bridge died earlier. But I also don't get why suddenly the bridge is fully manned. It feels chill.
I know, right? It's like he sent her back in time.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because she's in a different uniform. Maybe none of the crew died. I don't know.
Like, at the very least, it should still be red alert, surely. At the very least, red alert. It's just a weird juxtaposition of, like, this wouldn't be okay. Especially as the second in command is still on the ship doing his commanding. He wouldn't say, we're fine now. Off red alert. No, you were under attack 6 minutes ago, you lost 400 people. Your engineering might or might not be destroyed.
Yeah.
A bit more tension. So it's a bit of a weird ending. And then it blows up.
It does. SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5 and says, though I am sure he will mature enough and become captain one day, just not yet. He's got the determination to do things and get it done. So yeah, I think he just needs to learn a lesson or two.
And it's funny, he says to me he's a great first officer, like Riker, and who should stay in that role until he learns to mellow and then take captain.
Yes, absolutely.
He has to mellow out through being not in charge to be in charge. So a longer road together, but he has the stuff, better learn the hard way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's my vote. But yeah, Wesley force pushes everybody with the cosmic ray of Pew, and reverses the polarity of the phasing flow and brings back the asteroids.
Quantum. Ray. Ray Ricks, £5. Dal is the one to lead the away team to explore planets, not sit in the chair.
Yes.
He was smart and proved that when he finally read 101, just lazy. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, 100%. So he was a team leader, not a captain.
Yes.
In that sense, in that abstract sense.
He would have been a good TOS captain. Not this era.
I mean, did Kirk read books? Yes, he did. So now we get, I think, a rather excellent end, in fact. Very good art design. This random mountaintop with clouds so high. Really nice visual. Rusty-ass Protostar. Perched very precariously. Been there a long time. And then reveals bearded Chakotay with a bit of grey hair, but not a lot, but a bit. In tattered, but not that tattered. And just sort of enjoying the sunset or sunrise. It's very calm. It's very nice.
It's very Maroon Desert Island.
Yeah. Yeah. Good ending.
Yep.
And it's like, took us 30 episodes. He's finally in the plot. Imagine telling us in 2020, it's like, oh, Chakotay's going to be in it. Not for 30 episodes in 2.5 years.
Yeah. You see him once or twice for a minute or two. That's it.
But not 3. No 3 minutes. Just 1, 2.
Anyway, that is the end of episode 10 of season 2 of Prodigy.
Whew.
The Devourer of Worlds Part 2.
The end of the second big chunk, or the... Yeah.
The middle of the road for this season.
Yes, the middle of the story. Right, what can people do now? Because I really want to know you guys' scores.
I want you guys to super chat in your thoughts on this episode particularly, but also the 5 episodes in total. Super chat in. We want to hear your scores on this because we are going to give ours now.
Talk to us.
Then we will, I'll read all those. So let us know what you think.
2 or 3 scores would be perfect. Just perfect. Just a few little bit of, So, Stuart, big debate there. Good discussion. What do you think of episode 10? Is it different to how you first thought? And which do you prefer now, episode 9 or 10? Give me your thoughts.
I see them as one episode, though.
But in this construction that we've
I know. This one has a shuttle. It has phaser fire. It has a whole bunch of really cool stuff that does nothing because there's a lot of Star Trek-isms in it, but they don't. Yeah. I was going to say that I preferred this one over the first one, but really, I'd like to just count these 2 as one episode because they should.
Did I sell you?
Yes. I would, but just going into it, I was like, I'm gonna like this one more just because there's action, there's shit going on the ship, there's a shuttle firing things. It's fine, it's great. Janeway meets Wesley, it's great. But overall, I think I like the build up to it better. I think I like 9 better slightly. So score wise, give this one an 8.9 for my enjoyment. For all of Prodigy, what did I give the last one? I don't even remember.
9.3.
Ooh, for all of Prodigy. Okay. Give it a 9. Yeah.
I get it. What's your favourite one thing you think you did well in this one? If you had to...
That I did well? Or that Aaron did well?
What do you do well? No, that the episode did well. What is your favourite bit? Because it's the end of the arc, right? What's your favourite bit of it?
Oh, it's got to be the callback to Simon Earth. Seeing all the tech in the 60s room. That's just awesome. That's, I think, the thing that is kind of the icing on the cake for these 2 episodes for me. Tying all that stuff together. And
well.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because, it was actually well.
Yes.
Okay, and guys, super chat thoughts. Put in some comments. Genuinely want to know all your thoughts. It's a big epic moment, so give us your whatnot. Oh, Dad says 8.5 out of 10. Okay, pretty good.
Well, Sam, what did you think of the episode, and did our discussion change it at all?
I enjoyed talking about it with you. That was fun. I enjoyed the riffing on its obvious issues, but they're silly issues, right? They're pacing, they're fun visual for not necessarily logic, but it's a very Trek episode. It's trying to do a lot. It's pretty rare that you have time moths eating Voyager's crew out of existence. It's not the normal brief, right?
Yeah.
But as with anything, it's like fighting Thor. It's like you can't hurt Thor, really, so the tension's odd. The kids do nothing. They're entirely absent from the plot, narratively, really. Except Dahl accidentally pressing a button and doing a thing. Wesley's weird in this one, with both a sense of what the hell and also, relaxing. Confusing, but okay. And the ending's great, and it feels satisfying. I just wish the Voyager bit I'm not going to say had more thought put in, because Aaron would have put thought into it. I think it's just what they had budget to do, what they had time to do, and the corner they put themselves in, right? Those all went against him heavily, and they really felt it. And you easily could have fixed some things by having the crew work out how to do shield and protect them, but they got around it or whatever. But then you not nerf them, right? You can't nerf them, but you kind of tried to, but not. So it's good, but not amazing. It's a good part 2 to part 1, but I did enjoy part 1 more. I already said that. There's more problems in this one, like the entire bit with beaming down 3 people away team makes no sense at all.
Yes and no. You want to minimize casualties by beaming fewer people down.
But you're maximizing the chance by not having more phaser rifles in play. Or
True. It should be a 4 or 5 person.
Yeah, 2 teams of 4. That'd be hard to do that, at the minimum, right?
Yeah. But if you know there's a risk down there, it kind of makes sense to minimize the amount of risk.
But 1 security, your second in command.
But it's not Discovery stupid. Like, we're not taking security because this is a peaceful planet and pristine planet. We don't want to. It's just me and you being down because I'm burning.
But they didn't even know the threat yet. That there was a threat per se. They're just a creature that someone's scared of. So it just
not knowing a threat. It doesn't make sense to have 3 people. Correct.
And I would have been really amazed to have both shuttles fly down and then get eaten in the story. Amazing.
Could it be that they only had 3 armbands? That's why only 3 people went down. The doctor was working on more because he was.
Oh, I wish they said that.
He was getting Nova team ready in the sick bay. That's when he said, "I'm making these for the away team, making them like doing it now." That would make more sense to only spend 3 people.
Because then what we should have had is not in the shuttle bay, because that was a stupid thing visually. Having the transporter room, have it be the doctor, or have those people who are another security, and Majel walks in and says, "I volunteer, I need to be," and then they give the armband from one to the other, and she that. Oh, that would have made that much better. And then it would have felt tension, like, why is 3 going? We only have 3. Then they sense things, stay together, guys, but it didn't have that at all. Love that. Wasn't the episode, but I love that. I'm not going to score it for that, but that's really clever.
Yeah.
Score-wise, our lesson last week, not tremendously less, but enough. I think the end really helps as well. It's a really satisfying end. I'm going to say 8.2, so 0.3 less than last week, which is not a huge detraction, and a solid... No, 7.9 for Prodigy, because it's not a good enough standalone, so it goes under 8 for me. Because it wouldn't work as a 1-parter, and a lot of Prodigies do. So
this shouldn't have been a 2-parter. This should have been a 1-parter. It should have been a long one.
Or just cut all the unnecessary and make it really focused. But hey, 8.2 and 7.9, really good for things like Discovery, right? That's still a very high score. It's just, I'm leaving some nice wiggle room for higher.
The worst episode of Prodigy is still fucking hands down better than anything in Discovery. Sorry. It's true. Anyway.
Okay, what do people think?
Well, we got 1 super chat score, which is awesome. Ray Ricks, £5. 8 out of 10 this episode. All 4, 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Also, just under 3 weeks to Vegas, getting psyched. If you're going to Ray, we'll see you there.
He got some
this guy's showing up at my place on what? 25th.
Oof.
Of
so soon.
Of July, yeah. And then, we'll see you at Vegas, Ray.
Make yourself known, because I don't think we know what you look like. Because
we don't know what you look like, but I think you know what we look like.
Yes. Just slip $5 into our pockets and say, "I'm that guy." It's like, Ray!
Hi, I'm Ray Ricks. We should have a secret handshake. Something that's... We should have a saying that he should come up and say that. I don't know. Figure it out, Ray. Come up with something clever. Anyway, sorry. Non-super chat scores now.
And I will just briefly pimp, as we are all locked in. So, revealing the thumbnail for tomorrow's first episode of my Prodigy episodic content, launching tomorrow. Prodigy Reckoning episode 1. Come out tomorrow, guys. So if you want more episodic Prodigy content, tomorrow's the day. Every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. Please, it takes less than a minute to share on social media. It is free. It is easy. It is quick. Genuinely meaningful. The point of this is to get views, to get comments, to get YouTube to notice, so that Netflix notices, so that it shows Prodigy's interest. If this thing does not do well, then that's a testament to Prodigy's interest or lack thereof. So we need people to support this actively and get the word out to do its job and help. And also, it's a good story. I'm not abashed to say it. It's a good story. A lot of canon love. I mean, this screen cap alone, you can see how many cool things there are. I'm not limited by what assets I happen to have, because I happen to have a lot. You know, you'll see lovely coexisting eras and logic, and you know, it's really well thought out. Starting tomorrow. Please do give it a watch, give it a share, give it a comment, because YouTube loves comments. So all 30 of you do a comment. Would genuinely mean a lot. This is a big deal for me, and Stuart's in it as well. So
Spoilers.
Well, in the trailer.
Chris Bruce says, I think you should do things like this for all of TNG. Bruh. We've reviewed up to season 5 of TNG. It's kind of piecemeal here and there because it's kind of when there's nothing else going on. So yes, we do. We don't do multiple episodes though, because these are 24-minute long episodes, and it was released all at once. That's why we're doing these chunks. We focus on each episode and have these exact same discussions for every episode of TNG. We will, of course, do it for DS9 eventually, and Voyager, and TOS. We will do them all eventually.
Some of those reviews are really interesting because we find out a lot of nuanced things, and we discuss just like this, some little one-lines at work and some canon connections. And when there was an in-between the seasons for a while, we did them as the break, and we got through loads, and then it became every week for Trek, and then we didn't, and then...
So, Chris, I know you're new to the channel.
Hi.
There is a TNG reviews playlist. So if you're really interested in TNG reviews, go check them out.
So what you're really saying is, he suggested it, we went back in time, started doing it, so that he has the ability now to watch several, like 80 episodes.
Yeah. So,
good job for the time travel, because we've made a big difference, haven't we?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And each of our reviews is 2 hours, so there's a lot of content there to watch.
Yes.
So some of your non-super chat review scores: 8.9 from General Grievous, Ozzy 9.2, was at 9.3, 7.4 from Merlos, Joseph 8.7, Chris Bruce 8.5, Merlos episodes 9 and 10 given a 7.4. Okay. Wow. Stanley's 8.5. Some Stephen Cockings guy 8.5.
I've heard of him.
Are you guys related or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Didn't expect that. Okay. Anyhow, I think we'll call it there. We're way over our time.
And we burned through the first 3 as well.
We did.
Did my due diligence and just, especially the first 2. So looking forward to the next 5, because I'm going to watch them on Monday or Tuesday. We're going to
6. Because we can't break up Ascension Part 1 and 2.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. So that'll be early next week, and I'll probably do another one, the last 4 later in the week. I don't know how we're going to do it yet. We don't want to have too much going on right before Vegas or at Vegas, so we're going to get these done before Vegas.
Do more so we can go to Vegas. But do watch our videos. We have 2 videos coming out this weekend. We have one looking at Borg Transwarp tech from this chunk, and also the Kazon Flyers, which was fun to look at and kind of dissect, as we always have the ship content.
That's right.
And check out my video tomorrow. Start a journey.
Yes, definitely do that.
What do you think of the thumbnail, Stuart? What do you think?
It's beautiful.
Do you like the Delta com badge for numbering?
Yes.
Originally, I had it as like a LCARS button that was coming down, and then Matt suggested doing an oval the other way, and I was like, So I thought, what if I had a Delta in the middle, make it a badge? I thought it'd be a nice hybrid idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's actually the Prodigy badge as well, technically, just without the gold bit, because gold on gold. Yeah. What's that tomorrow?
So check that out. Check out all the content. Do all the things. The routine, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, he is Commander Cockins.
He's kind of Foley.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
And cut.